Welcome to Snowmobile Sessions Live on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. We're the #1 destination to learn about snowmobiling, network with other sledders, and have an awesome time doing it. We'll meet other snowmobilers that share your passion and show your fan photos along the way. Snowmobile Sessions Live. Enjoy the ride.
It's a journey for life and I'm gonna ride. Hang on.
This episode of Snowmobile Sessions Live is brought to you by Energy Power Sports. They're a full-line BRP dealer with sales and service to all BRP models and so much more. The deliveries are happening really fast, so hopefully your sleds come in or it's coming in soon. I've been enjoying the hell out of mine, and it hasn't even left the garage yet. Snowmobile Sessions is also brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction Products. Guess what I was doing on the weekend? You're going to see when we get to fan photos. And if you buy your studs and backers and nuts from Fast Track Snowmobile Traction, put that toolkit in the cart and use the coupon code SNOW, S-N-O-W, and that toolkit's absolutely free. And I'll tell you something, it's worth every penny if you pay for it, but you're getting it for free if you use the coupon code SNOW. That's FASTTRAC.co, fasttrack.co, and there's no K in track, and away we go. We're going to learn more about that when we get into the fan photos. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hey, Rich, how you doing?
Good, buddy. Good.
Yeah, that's great. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers,
so
guys.
You had some good news last week too, I heard.
Yeah, Sled's in. The XCR's in.
Yeah, that's good. So what day is the pickup?
Well, I'm hoping, I called him today. He's I'm hoping Thursday. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can go ride.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone meet Kirk Hastings.
Oh,
Hey,
boys.
The Cain's Quest legend.
Nice.
So so I've been working on my sled all weekend, so I haven't been able to see the light of day, and I don't even know if my family is even in the house anymore. They might have left. Said screw it, we're getting out of here. So let's see who's in the chat here before we get going here. We got Wisco Sledheads, yep. Brad Hitchcock, he's there waiting. Dustin Ingram, hey, cheers, boys. And Gary, my hands are on that surprise. Right on. Pro Polaris, yep, thanks for the shout-outs there, too. Sometime is now got his new helmet wrap, his O2 wrap, and it looks fly. Anthony Palermo from Windsor, he and I have been chatting. That's cool. He's got lots of stuff going on. Brad Hitchcock, yeah, J Fly Low, sometime is now. I think I said that. Renegade X, yeah. Good evening, guys. Snow dance. And we got Snowstorm. He's in there. Keith 63060. J Philo. Who else? Oh, geez, it goes on. Dave Miller. Yeah, we got some pictures from him. Oh, geez. Slowby. Fellas, I can smell Mother Nature's cooking, he says. Yeah. Uncle Buck, of course, he's around again. I'm glad he is. And Troy Parks, yep, Tracks and Waves. He's ready for the snow. Oh, boy. Skidoo, 600R. He's there. Boy, if you guys want to see snow, you're going to see it tonight, man. You're going to see it tonight. We got some amazing photos. Kirk's actually coming to you from Newfoundland, and I don't think you guys can appreciate snow until you see it. I was in Labrador City a few years ago, and I was dumbfounded by snow. When you drive down the street, all you see is a snowbank and maybe the top of a roof of a house. You don't see the front of the house at all, and there may be a hole cut for the driveway to park in. So it's pretty crazy. But we're going to show snow like you wouldn't believe when we see the pictures tonight. So anyway, Kirk, tell us a bit about yourself there, buddy.
Well, my name's Kirk Hastings. I'm from Tiny Township, Ontario, which for you folks that aren't familiar, it's between Wasaga Beach and Midland Penetang on the bottom end of Georgia Bay Lake Huron. And my background was just a recreational trail rider, did a little bit of volunteer work with the local clubs years ago, and traveled all over Ontario, Quebec, and a little bit in British Columbia, a couple trips out there. But my quest for a new area brought me to the Toronto Snowmobile Show, actually in 2007, fall of. Religiously went to the Toronto Snowmobile Show, and my job for the group that I rode with that year was to get trail maps for Newfoundland. We were really looking forward to heading to the Maritimes and checking out Newfoundland. We've done the Gas Bay Peninsula and wanted to see what the Appalachian mountain range had further out on the rock. So I attended the Toronto Snowmobile Show in 07 and picked up the trail maps that we were going to execute the trip in 2008. But I was also handed a brochure for an unknown to me event called CAIN'S Quest. And that was on the mainland portion of the province of Labrador. And it really piqued my interest. I'd never heard of it, so started to do some research. You know, you go home with your little bag full of brochures, and one of them was the invitation to do the race. So the executive director at the time for the Newfoundland Labrador Snowmobile Federation, Miss Penny Brake, was the one that handed me that information and got me hooked on this event that we're going to talk about tonight.
That's awesome.
Right on.
And how long was it afterwards that you actually did the event from picking up the brochure?
So I think the Snowmobile Show, usually mid-November, I believe, just before the snow flies. And the race, and don't quote me on dates, maybe March the 8th in 2008, I believe, was the departure date. So I actually had to find someone that was foolish enough to become my teammate, a fellow racer, participant maybe is a better word, for our first year, and then put some sort of a plan together for construction of sleds and navigation equipment and survival gear, and put together a little bit of a support team because it's quite a broad geographical area that you travel. So some of it can be supported by people on the road on the Trans-Labrador. So we started to do some research on that. Who would actually be foolish enough to follow us along?
Well, it's called the world's longest and toughest snowmobile endurance race. So tell people about the distance and we're going to see photos of the terrain you travel, but give people a feeling of what this thing actually is.
Well, they say pictures are worth 1,000 words, so I'll try and do my best briefly, so don't tie you up all night. Basically, it's a week-long event. It starts so up to date. It started out in Labrador City and has ended in Labrador City. And the idea was, on a tourism perspective, was to showcase a little-known portion of the province of Labrador and sort of the backcountry experiences that you can find there. I would call it sort of the last frontier. There's very few people that have been there, including myself, up until 2008. And it's sort of that top northeastern portion of the country that most people don't get a chance to discover. So we basically form a team of two racers, and then really what makes up the team is all the support, including those at home that follow you through the race. Participants each team is outfitted with a GPS transponder, so this enables for safety. You're always keyed up exactly what your location is and how you're progressing through the race route. But it also allows fans from around the world, literally. I think it was 52 countries have been watching the races lately, and that enables them to track positions of the racers real time and to bring up some of the hype rather than hearing about it in an email or a broadcast later on in the day. It's real time tracking. So basically, there's a series of checkpoints. Don't quote me on the numbers. Let's say 8 to 12, depending on what year it is.
Yeah.
I find they're typically about 500 kilometers apart. Whenever we talk about Labrador tonight, everything's 500 kilometers. So if I say from here to there, it was 500 kilometers. If we talk
which is about 300 and something miles, right? Like 360 miles or something like that.
And that's just a roundabout way. I'm just rounding it off, but
yeah.
You found there about 500 kilometers apart, and they would try to also, there'd be a place where they would possibly be a community. Some of the checkpoints were remote, literally a tent in the middle of nowhere, but typically it'd be a community that we would get a chance to see and be showcased to us. So that would basically about every third checkpoint there'd be a layover depending on the particular year, and that layover would give you between 2 and 12 hours off of the clock to be able to rest, get some sleep. They provide you with accommodations, and basically get back in the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually share this screen here with the route map here so people can see what you're talking about here.
Holy shit.
Yeah, like it's like this is the province, and you can see here how big it is and how long that area is that we're looking at. It's pretty crazy.
That is wild.
You're thinking 500 kilometers between checkpoints. That's massive. And what is it? 3,500 kilometers total?
That is this year's race route. The first year in 2008, I believe it was 1,800 or maybe it was 2,000. I've been to so many now, I can't remember them all, but that's 2,000. It was supposed to be 2,000 kilometers to make up the course of the race. If you want to click on the different checkpoints, I can give you a quick description. Obviously, Lab City being the most populous area that in Labrador, followed by Happy Valley, Goose Bay.
I can't click on them. Sorry about that.
Just I wanted to put your pointer on it there, like.
Here, I wanted to. Oh wait, here we go. Yeah, I don't have that technology here. We're on a low budget. Hold on a second. Aren't we rich?
That's all good, man.
There we go.
That's
okay,
awesome.
Here we go. Now I can move it around. So,
man, that's a hell of a track.
I know, isn't it?
Like from point 1 to point 2, how far is that, would you say?
And that's not 500 kilometers. Again, it's been since 2014, so they've run from Lab City to Churchill Falls, but I can say it's 300 and change. Forgive me for my lack of.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. And I apologize to anyone in Labrador that I offend with misinformation tonight on their communities.
That's fine. That's
They'll
okay.
understand.
So I don't know. I'm not that knowledgeable on each community, but just to give you an overview. Now, what I didn't tell you about the race route is you're not allowed to use a groomed trail. You're not allowed to use a rail line or a roadway. That's considered out of limits. Now, there's certain cases, special cases in different areas, but for the most part, you're trying to traverse areas that are sparsely treed. So bogs, lakes, rivers, those type of sparsely treed areas where the snow doesn't get hung up or allows you to pass through. So you spend a lot, or you should spend a lot of time researching your race route prior to the race, because it's not just a matter of showing up, which we found out the hard way in 2008, as do most CFAs or come from a ways. You really want to go up and pre-run the route if you want to be competitive, and you know it's really the only way to. It's not the only way, but it's the
smart way.
So when you pre-run it, you're getting on your sled and you're just pointing into a field or a ditch or a mountain range and going.
Well, actually, at first you're on Google Earth, right? So you're on Google Earth, and any mapping you can get your hands on, and you're looking for, again, these areas that are sparsely treed. So that's you start at satellite imagery, and then when you actually get on the ground, you've got some worksheets, and you're going to see a photo later on of us in a cabin, and it would be kind of below that Sail Lake checkpoint, checkpoint 17 there.
Yeah,
you'll see us in a cabin at night. There was 3 or 4 teams working together that year. I believe it was 2011. And you'll see me on a computer. I don't know how I got it warm enough in this cabin, but we were on a computer taking the homework that was done and uploading that onto our GPSs for the next day's route and working through it. Now, working with other teams and partnerships are really valuable to trying to lessen some of the burden on individual teams. So typically after the first year, we were talking with 3 or 4 other teams and trying to work together to get to the finish line is a big deal. And don't get me wrong, the podium is a wonderful place to be, and it's a tough place to be. But just to finish this race is a success in my eyes, anyway.
Yeah, you told me the numbers on that. You said there was 48 teams when you did it, and
no, probably 30. I think 30 would be the most. 30, 35. I can't remember how many it was in 2014. Typically, you're about a 50% attrition. And I believe 2014, it was more than that. I think only about, I don't know, 8 out of 33 teams made it in 2014. Forgive me.
Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
3,500 kilometers of rugged wilderness. That's pretty crazy.
Nuts.
So would you recommend you start out with something like Ryan from Canuck Power Sports, 1,000 kilometer 2-day run first, and then if you like that, you go with this? Or
I don't know how you break yourself into this race. I think you need to go and maybe volunteer to work a checkpoint or do something voluntarily for the race and immerse yourself into that province prior to just showing up. Now, don't get me wrong, guys have done it. Guys have shown up with the with no previous race experience and have been on the podium. So anything's possible, but your odds are against you for sure.
yeah. Now, a couple of people in the chat noticed what you got behind you. Someone said, "Oh, a red dragon," and another one said, "What's that sled there on the left?" So it'd be your right.
Oh, somebody's coming in the garage here. 1 second, please.
Lord, jeez, I was blew the beans inside out of my ears.
Who we got here?
I was down at the house there, getting ready for the bunk, and I sees in the face place that Kirk Hastings is up in the bog and burn doing the codcast.
The podcast.
And then there was something about rum, so I said, well, now then, boy, if there's rum on the go and there's a podcast on the go, well, I got to be up in the bog and burn. I didn't even have to walk all the way up by it, blew up. Who's all yous?
I'm Gary. This is my co-host Rich here. This is Penny, Rich.
Gary. So where do you belongs to?
We're out near in Ontario, in the flatlands.
Yes, boy.
So where you at there, buddy? What are you at there, Penny?
Oh, I'm just like hanging out now. I figured I'd come up and see what's going on with the podcast. Like Kirk, that's all he does. My son is talk about the CAIN'S. I calls an apple. So every time I look at him, that's all I see. He's loves the apple. He's like apple. All he talks about is the CAIN'S, and he's right addicted.
Where did Apple go now?
I don't know. I think I frightens him. I think he's scared of me.
I think so.
Yeah,
so listen, we have to before we get too much further into this, we have to make these people watching in the chat their official Newfoundlanders, don't you think?
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you. Like, in order to be in the bargain barn, talking about the CAIN'S quest, you need to be an honorary Newfoundlander. So, how many? Me hat is too big for me. I guess me head shrunk. How many of you is actually honorary Newfoundlanders?
I am from years ago, but I gladly do it all over again.
Okay.
And how many in the chat have got their shot of dark rum ready? It's just say me if you got her going. Just give them a second to respond. Our chat's really slow. Mitch Williams says Gary's long lost sister. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if I had a long lost brother.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
while we're waiting, Mitch Williams got it. Who else? Jumpman J24. He says, "Give me a minute, he'll get it." You know what? Well, Jumpman J. Well, that Uncle Buck's got some screech. Hey, listen, Penny. Did you hear about the Newfoundlander that got a new pair of snowmobile boots?
No, I didn't. Wouldn't me.
He broke 12 pairs of laces trying to start them.
Oh, me nerves. That's why you're supposed to wear the sealskins, eh?
Oh, those are lovely. I think Rich has a pair of those.
You're great, lovely.
Oh, Slowbee's got the tequila. Does that count, Penny?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
okay, there you go. Neil Owen's ready to go.
Dory, my son, whatever floats your dory.
Okay, when Jumpman J responds back, we're gonna get this going. And when this is done, I want you guys to email me and I'll send you a little certificate to make it official. Okay. Mark Bo says my wife's in Newfie from Mobile, just south of St. John's.
Well, she's a townie. I'm a Bayman.
You're a Bayman.
I'm a Bayman boy.
Jacob Hardy's got a stout. Yes, that counts. It's dark enough.
There's not very often we'll do like stuff like this in the bargain barn that's virtual, but I suppose with this silly COVID thing, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Whoever would have dreamed that you could smoke the big gold draw with the fucking wacky backy. Whoops, sorry, I said that. It's a wacky backy, and you can't even kiss your mother. But that's it. That's where we are.
That's right.
Yeah.
Corey Brock says his brother-in-law's is from Grand Falls.
Okay, that's out in the middle.
Is it? There you go.
He'd be around the belly button.
And Jumpman Jay used to work out in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Jumpman Jay, are you ready to rock or what? Yeah, he's got 8-year-old Bacardi Reserve Ocho brown rum. Okay, I got mine going here, so let's get this thing going.
Okay, so we got CFAs, we got the bog and burn, and we got the rum. So we got to make the honorary Newfoundlanders.
Ready?
Everybody got the rum. So to be an honorary Newfoundlander, no, there's more to it than that first now. There's a few things. So basically, Screech, the whole Screeching ceremony, and Screech itself is actually Jamaican rum.
Oh.
So what happened was they used to come up and want to get our cod. So being Newfies, of course, we like their drink. So we traded our cod for the Jamaican rum. And here we are. And the reason it's called Screech was because it was that strong. When you used to take a taste of it, you go, ah! Because it was pretty strong.
Nice.
So if you want to be an honorary Newfoundlander, there's a few things you got to do. The first thing you got to do is dress like a Newfie. But as I said, with the COVID, it's pretty hard for me to get the sou'wester through to you. So we're going to have to pretend you got your sou'wester and you got your woolen Guernsey and you got your sealskin boots on. Okay. And if you don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'm going to pretend you look like a Newfie. The next thing you need to do is you got to eat like a Newfie. So you can't be a Newfie if you don't eat your Newfie steak.
Ah, yeah.
I love it.
Then you got your Newfie steak. Best thing ever. Best kind. Nothing wrong with it. And then, of course, you got to have your Newfie steak with a bit of bread. I don't think Mother did a good job on this one. Yeah, we're going to pass on that one. My son, let's suck every bit of spit right out of your mouth if you had that right now. Okay, so we're pretending you had your Newfie steak and you had your hard bread. Great. Thumbs up.
I'm ready.
The next thing you got to do, and this is what you've been waiting for, is you got to drink like a Newfoundlander. Now, before we do that, I'm going to read the Screecher's Creed to you. And I'm going to say it, and you're going to repeat after me. From the waters of the Avalon.
From the waters of the Avalon.
To the shores of Labrador.
To the shores of Labrador.
We've always stuck together.
We've always stuck together.
With a rant and a roar.
With a rant and a roar.
Those who've never been.
Those who've never been.
Soon they'll understand.
Soon they'll understand.
From coast to coast, we raise a toast. We love thee, Newfoundland.
From coast to coast, we raise a toast. We love thee, Newfoundland.
Now,
Can we
you
drink?
gotta say, true to lips and over the gums. Look out, gut, here she comes.
True to lips and over the gums. Look out, gut, here she comes.
Whoop! Yeah! And you gotta screech. So I know you didn't all have Screech, but I hope you had something that tickled your fancy.
Oh, that one tickled.
Good.
It was cracking. My son's gonna be
there's
mad.
we got it. There's another thing you gotta do to be a Newfoundlander. Now you gotta talk like a Newfoundlander.
Yeah, my mother did that.
Your mother did that?
Yeah. I like the cut of your jib there.
Cut of me jib? You can't see me jib. I'm hiding it. Kurt taught me on that lad show off me jib. All the fucking money. Now, the reason that I made you drink first is because you need your tongue loose for when I get you to say a little saying as a Newfoundlander. So I'm going to say, is you a Newfoundlander? And when I says that, this is what you guys say. Indeed, I is me old cock long me big jib dry.
Huh? I'll let Gary say that.
Okay? No, everybody can say it. Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want me to say what you got to say again?
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
I know long may your big jib draw was the end, was it? And
Yeah,
something
it was.
about me having a big cock.
Something. Yeah. No, I can't go into that. because
Okay, I know what
it's
to
a
say.
family show.
It is. We just
Okay,
lost
so
our monetization again. Damn.
so it's going to be indeed I is me old cock. Allow
Yep.
me to jib drop.
Yep. I got
Okay.
it.
So I'm going to say, is ye a Newfoundlander?
Indeed, I am. These big cock. Long may be a long jib draw.
Nah, you can say it again. I don't think you did right. Is ye a Newfoundlander?
Indeed, I am. Me cock. Long may your long jib draw. I don't know.
Indeed,
Yes, I
is
am.
me old cock.
It
Cheers.
works.
Okay. Now, you know, you can't. It's just like going to the club. You can't leave the club without having a kiss, right?
Oh yes, that's right.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in Newfoundland, though, you're not allowed to French kiss. Okay. But my sons, pucker up and come in. Don't mind the smell. She might be a little manky.
Jesus.
Love it.
I don't know which way I'm going.
There you go. You got to kiss the cod. So lean up to the screen there and kiss that cod, folks. I did.
She might be a little stinky, but don't mind that, my dear. We're a little short on water. We don't get to shower every day.
Where'd you find it? Where'd you find a cod this time of year?
What do you mean? That cod's been around. Like some of the girls at the club has been around.
Is that how COVID started? It was the
Exactly.
cod kissing in Newfoundland.
That's how some things starts anyway.
That's right. Oh, that was great, Penny. So
Anyway,
listen, everybody
this one-
that participated in that, you have to send me an email, and I'll shoot you an official snowmobile session certificate. Oh, are you not done yet, Penny?
Well, I just wanted to say I'm really proud of you. Made me heart right happy. I almost feels like I'm gonna cry. All I got to say is you sounds like you was all right wording, and wish I could kiss y'all, but as I said, can't because of COVID. And I think too that your lips might be a bit stinky from the messes there, you know. Anyway, I now declare you honorary Newfoundlanders, and may we all have good fortune, and may the COVID soon be over.
Right.
Amen.
Amen.
See ya. I'll be back.
You gotta be back. Oh, that was great. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Kurt, for bringing her in. That was awesome.
I
She's
didn't
gonna
have a
come back
choice.
and sit with
You
us,
saw the
right?
lights on. She's got a Snoopy.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
hear you. My sound didn't come on there. I was doing a big applause for her, but for some reason they didn't play out. So I'll have to fix that one.
Right on.
Yeah. So that's good, man. So did she screech you in back in the day? Is that how it all happened?
Yes.
He screeches at me every day when I do something wrong.
Here we go. This one's for you. Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was fun. That's another YouTube snowmobile sessions first.
Oh,
No one's ever been screeched in on YouTube. I'll tell you. That Noble Shit says we're all under a Newfoundlander's awesome. Yeah. Jumpman J says thank you, Penny. Yeah. Moose says Penny was awesome. Uncle Buck says thank you, Penny. Oh, you were at the Moose says Penny was awesome. He was at that snowmobile show too, I guess, eh? Yeah, so that's funny. I always knew you could pick up new sleds at a show, but I never noticed you could meet your wife.
Well, he chased me. I was playing hard to get.
Yeah, you went what? You went 3,500 kilometers trying to avoid him, and and he kept going. That's how it started, isn't it?
Yeah.
You told him your name was Kane, and then he started chasing you. You just went around Newfoundland, and he kept following you. And then they went, "There's a race here, I think."
All I was looking for was a trail map, Gary.
Now you got a wife. That's awesome.
He sounded like a fart in a blanket. Once I got him, I couldn't get rid of him.
That's awesome.
Oh, I hear you. So, Mark Bowe says he's heading to Newfoundland this summer. The wife says she's going home for the summer.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's come home here 2022 for all Newfies that are away.
Yeah. Yeah. And Troy Park says his Newfie pal told him to blend in. You got to eat the seal flipper. LOL. Yeah. Oh, there's a lot.
Wear the boots.
There's a lot of good Newfie traditions, that's for sure. So,
Yeah.
hey, listen, we got a lot to talk about tonight, and I mean, we're going to get through it all, and we're going to learn a lot. But do you guys want to have a look at some fan photos while we let our buzz wear off?
Yeah.
Anything snowmobile.
Yeah, oh, this is all about snowmobiling. So here, let me just cue it up here, okay?
Fan photos are brought to you by Fast Track Snowmobile Traction Products. Check out fasttrack.co.
Oh, yeah, and here, I just got to move. Oh, look at that garage
Nice.
there, right? Even got a hoist there. That's what I needed to put my stuff on. Wonder where they went.
So I name all of our sleds.
Oh, yeah, here, let's get back here. I'm going to put you big again. Let's see
There
this.
you go.
Well, I would rather be small.
No, that's, I can't see.
Don't make me big.
The
The middle one is the Cain's Quest race sled.
Yep.
And I call that one Franken's sled. The one over on this side is the Lynx Boondocker, but that one's called Lil Red. And the one over here is the Expedition Extreme, and that one's called Big Red. And the one up on the hoist is my 850 Mountain XRS backcountry, and that one is Shaka.
Shock. So is Kirk around? Kirk, tell us about Frankensled there. It's an interesting combination. You won. You got third place in Cain's Quest on that sucker, right?
2014, yeah. So BRP built a hill climb edition several years, but in 2011 was the first free ride. 154 free ride came out, and that was I think directed right at the hill climb circuit. In 2012, they broadened out the front end on their race edition. So it basically comes with an RS front S module and an A arms configuration, and it's got a 154 SC5 M2 skid. But it's the rear arm on the hill climb edition is 4 inches further back on the rails. And I believe that's to combat excessive ski lift in a hill cross and hill climb race application. We felt that served us really well for the race. The wide A arms for a lot of lakes and probably 700 kilometers of ocean racing up the North Atlantic. It's quite rough, and it's nice to have that wide C stance. And the rear arm being 4 inches further back gives you a little better capacity to be able to carry weight. We've got to carry basically 2 or 3 days worth of provisions: tent, sleeping bag, stove, fuel, food, spare set of clothing, and numerous other mandatory gear, and it adds up to a lot of weight. So we felt that model was going to best serve us for this race. We raced 2 other models before that, and we'll talk about it later on as the pictures come out. But that particular model, the free ride at the time, was especially the race edition in our case, was the way to go. We did strip the 2 1/4 powder max off of it and ran a 1.5 inch lug. The track at the time was called a Charger. It was a 16 by 154 by 1.5, and then we put automotive studs in that track. In the lugs, similar to what you'd see in what iGrip would put out. So that's what we were trying to come up with, re-geared it. And then with this particular unit, we got involved with Elka Suspension. And I believe you have already met John Sherrard, who is my my go-to with suspension anything. Hats off to John Sherrard once again. I really enjoyed when he spoke here on this session as well. So we went to full Elka suspension. John actually developed a rear custom coilover shock for us. So we had the factory torsion springs, and then John had a three-way progressive coil spring assembly on the rear shock to help us carry the loads, and we found it worked very well. We weren't relying just on shock valving at that point. We did get a lot more spring support there. So this race is cruel on snowmobiles and men and women. But suspension is key. Like, I can't stress that enough. If you're not into suspension, as I wasn't really in the earlier years, you're really going to feel it. No pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Now it's an 800cc, correct?
That was an 800. That's what the factory hill climb racer, the race edition, it was called, came with in 2012. Yes.
Now, do they do anything else? Like, is it open as far as what performance modifications you can do on it? Like, or do you try and keep it stock for reliability? What is your thoughts on that?
You know, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. The manufacturers spend millions of dollars on research and development, and a lot of us, and I'm going to rope myself into this group, modify things, trying to make it stronger. But you might make something stronger, let's say in the front torque arm, but the next piece back from it wasn't built to the same degree, and it will give out on you. So we've had many failures of suspension components over the years. The biggest killer is weight. So the lighter you can run, the less you've got to try to combat those stresses and forces that this really unforgiving terrain throws at you. And I don't know how to best describe it. The North Atlantic, racing up the coast of Labrador, if you get wind and snow, you end up with these 3 foot, I don't know, the best description is like lemon meringue pie, but the high points are about 3 feet, and they curve with the wind. So if you're heading north, you're running into, square edge drifts, and you really feel that going north. South's a little easier because you're jumping off a 3 foot drifts, but the square edge stuff going up just annihilates your suspension and your body for that matter. So
yeah,
it's really tough to try to piece that all together and hope the weather doesn't throw a monkey wrench into your plans.
Yeah. Now, why 800? Is there a reason you do that over, say, a 600 E-Tech? Like, when you want fuel economy and oil economy, when you're doing that kind of run, we're going to talk about your fuel as we get into the pictures. That's pretty eye-opening, but
absolutely. So let's go back to 2012. What was available? I guess the 600 E-Tech was available, and I will add in 2009 a 600 E-Tech equipped race team. You may be familiar with Grip and Rip Racing Products. Tim Lassard and Eric Hall took the podium, took first place on 600 E-Tech Renegades at the time, I believe was the model they had chosen.
Wow.
But the problem with a 137 is you need a beat trail in front of you. So they are very wise at their strategy. Basically followed along, and I don't say that in a way that's offensive whatsoever. It was a good strategy. Stayed, they like to stay about mid-pack, maybe 7th, 8th position, and then work themselves to the front as, towards the end. They actually missed the last fuel stop, did not have to stop, passed the leaders, and took the podium. It was spectacular to watch from.
That's insane.
So the 600 definitely worked in that case. But there's other races where if you weren't on a 154, 3 feet of snow is on the ground and you're not getting through. So it's a real crapshoot. You've got to have some good planning and really know your navigation, where you're going, and is there already a trail put down in front of you. You don't want to be breaking a trail, especially on a short track.
Oh yeah. That makes sense too, right? So you're following a beaten down path and then you kind of inch your way up. That's a good plan. That's what I'll do when I do it.
If you look at that 600, interesting model, just talking about 2022, for those of you fortunate enough to get one, that there was a 600 BRP product, 600 I believe it was called a Renegade competition. Does that sound right? XRS competition.
It'd be XRS, yeah.
That's race ready. You know, if you had an 1 3/4 track on that particular model and had a really good plan, I don't see why you couldn't be competitive with it. And you wouldn't have to touch it very much. At 4-wheel kit on it. I'm sure it's got the E-module braces. It's already in it from factory. Good shock package. I think it's got Pro 40s all the way around.
Right on.
Down like we're seeing with some of these other XRSs, but that would be a really interesting model to do this race with some good planning and some weather on your side.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Well, let's check this stuff out here, and we're going to get to some of the fan photos first. Where are we? Where did I go here? I just want to say to start out, and Rich was the one that put me in the loop on it. One of our good friends and fans and huge supporters of the show had a small accident on the weekend, and Rich reached out to him, and then I actually reached out to him afterwards, and it's Tony Cat, and he had a horrible happenstance on one of his early rides, and ended up sustaining some injuries here. And he sent me a little note, and I mean, hang on a second here. I got to get my, I got to figure out how to show this with the notes. But he says on January 7th, 2022, me and my father traveled to Barnes Corner, which is in Tug Hill, New York, for our first ride of the season. Reports were that from this location to Watertown, Fort Drum, they received anywhere from 12 to 18 inches of lake effect snow. Upon our arrival, it was apparent the estimates were severely overinflated. The actual snowfall was anywhere from 8 to 10 inches with no base. It should be noted that due to no base and the amount of current snowfall, there was no grooming at this time. My dad and I were traveling about 30 miles an hour and max on a specific area of trail due to the early season conditions. All of a sudden, my left ski hit what appeared to be a small log or large ice rut under the fresh powder. My sled violently jerked to the right and my handlebars went full lock. I was subsequently ejected off to the left side and rolled several times. Long story short, I suffered from 2 broken hands and a dislocated right shoulder. My helmet was damaged and cracked on the right side, and luckily I was wearing a tech vest because I did not sustain any injuries where the vest was covering me. Because of how it mangled my hands were, they had to cut off my new gloves. They also had to take a grinding wheel and cut off my wedding ring. He says they had to cut off my jacket, mid-base, and tech vest due to the several breaks and fractures to my extremities. They requested a medevac for emergency flight, but due to the weather, it was not clear to take off. Ultimately, I had to take an hour ambulance ride to the nearest trauma center for treatment. I am grateful to be alive, to have minimal injuries. The frustrating part about this, I wasn't drinking, driving recklessly. I was being responsible and traveling at a respectful pace for trail conditions. Just a reminder to all, accidents like this can happen to anybody at any time. Wear a vest. Don't use hand signals, 2 hands on the bar. Ride right, wear a vest, and carry a tourniquet. Cheers. So that's pretty. It's that
a follow up too for him, Gary, just before the show too. He was going into emergency surgery because his hand went for the worst here. So I'll show you what his hand looks like right now.
Oh man. Oh geez.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So he's probably in surgery right now as we talk.
Oh man. So we're wishing you all the best there, Tony Cat.
Sure, Tony.
He's been an amazing. He's been an amazing fan and supporter of the show. He brought us David McClure from last week. He set up a Tug Hill for next week. And man, as soon as Rich told me about it on Sunday, I was like, oh, like couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I'm so happy and grateful that he's safe and survived this, because everything like the helmet and the clothing is all replaceable, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But if you follow Tony on social media, man, he's a true family man. Always with pictures of his wife and kids, and you really can't ask for anything more. So I'm hoping this is I mean, he's in surgery, so that probably means a season's shot. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping it doesn't have any long-term effects because, man, I'm telling you, he's a great guy.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you guys got a God to pray to, make sure you do so to help Tony along.
Yeah, send him some private.
Yeah,
some
for sure.
Positive energy, eh?
Exactly. Hit him up on Facebook and Instagram, I guess, is where you'd find him most, and just send him some love and well wishes, because he's got nothing to do but lay around. And that's the thing. He said he can't type, obviously. You see that? So it's all voice to text.
Yeah.
So he's doing really good. So
yeah.
But cheers, Tony. Get well soon, and long live and prosper, and long may your big jib draw, or whatever it is. What is it, Penny?
Long may a big jib draw.
There you go. Cheers, Tony.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy. Really appreciate everything you've done for us, and you're going to keep doing it. You're going to be back stronger than ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Renegade X says, "Tough go, Tony Cat. Get well soon." So yeah. Dominator, if you can safely signal, do it. But if you don't, keep two hands in the bars like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So no, get well quick, Tony. Wishing you well, Tony Cat. Pro Polaris, Jim Daniels. Moose says Tony Cat wishes speedy recovery. So that's the thing. Tony Cat's always in the chat, and these guys are with him every day. Uncle Buck, get well, Tony Cat. Joe C422 says, damn. So Jacob Harney praying for speedy recovery, man. You've got us all on your side, buddy. We'll be watching. Keep us in the loop on how it goes. I know he'll listen to this when he can. So anyway,
for sure. Yep.
But I sorry to start the show on a note like that, but I had to I had to do it just because he's such don't you agree, Rich?
Oh, amazing guy. I chat with him. I chat with a lot of the guys like you do, Gary, off on the weekends and stuff, and in the evening. So he's a great guy, awesome guy.
Yeah. So. No, we love him, man. Like I was blown away. I'm glad you told me, and I was just blown away. So I had to reach out because it's like seriously. It's like 20, 30 miles an hour. Like,
yeah. And that's when it happens. It doesn't take much, right?
No, for sure. So Kirk and Penny, this is the Bullwinkle, my sled.
I love the name, Gary. That's awesome.
I spilled some ballistic barmy blonde beer on it, and the hood changed color. It was black. Yeah. So
that is cool, buddy.
It means it comes with a warning label.
Yeah, exactly.
And the nostrils that's cool. It's awesome.
I always thought it looked like like a duck, and then when ballistic beer came out, I was like, God, I got to make that into my sled. So that's the only reason I bought a Gen 4 is to put some teeth on it.
And the red belly pan, the nostrils. That's cool, buddy. Good job, man.
Thanks, man. I can't wait to see it on the snow. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
you'll know that thing is coming in the sea of yellow. In the sea of yellow ski-doos, this red beast will be screaming down the trails. You'll know it's me.
That's awesome. Oh, look at you putting your fast tracks in, buddy. Good job.
Yeah, I tell you, man. I'm not done yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing.
You know what happened though? I had to do the tunnel protectors, and that is a job and a half.
Yeah, you were saying.
But the actual. So I was texting with Corey yesterday, and I was like, I'm done with the tunnel protectors, and I'm like. The sled was in pieces. The skid's out. And I got those QAS adjusters on the tunnel. They had to come off. And thank you. Sometime is now Greg. Big help on this video there. The skid come out. The hood, the console, all has to come off, which involves the air boxes connected to that hood console. Everything. And the worst part is that. I have everything apart, do the headlights, put it back together, do the E-link so the hood and console come off, do the handlebar guards, and I put it all back together. And then I go to do you just have to lift the gas tank up to get at because you have to drill up under to drill rivets in.
Right.
Well, you have to take everything apart again. So I'm really good. I'm really good at taking a Rev Gen 4 apart.
So you can do it with your eyes closed now, bud.
So then I was just done, and I went, I'm not gonna even bother studding it. I'm gonna go in for dinner. And I had dinner, and then I got looking at the fast track instructions, and this is a template kit they give you, and it's like, holy crap, this is kind of brainless. So I went and grabbed a Barmy Blonde, and I got the whole tool, which is important. High speed drill. That thing punches plugs like nothing. It smelled like someone was doing burnouts in my garage, and it's just like. So I actually got all the holes drilled except on the pairs. I didn't drill the second one yet because you use a little thing. So it was late. It was like 10 p.m. and I went, forget it, I'm going in the hot tub. I've been out in the cold garage too long today, but they're going to be awesome. Like that I wasn't very long putting studs in to get to this point, and it's like, yeah, it's going to be wicked, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't wait. So here we got Brian Coate. He says first ride of the season on his new Renegade XRS 900R with smart shocks. He says it's an amazing machine. The shocks are totally worth it.
Right on.
But sometimes now, and Mike Goulas, look at that boring helmet. He needs to get an O2 wrap, doesn't he?
Hey, did Sometimes Now send photos in of your?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Okay.
I didn't put him in there. I wasn't sure whether he wanted him shown yet or he wanted to reveal it.
Right.
And Goulas, I can bring him up today though if we want to see them.
Yeah.
But maybe you know what? I'll bring both of them up next week because I think Goulas is on my drive. But
good. Yeah,
both
he sent me a
those
picture of it, man. It looks cool. Really good job,
it does.
buddy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so, but that's cool. And then we got Dominator. Sorry, I didn't get your name right there, Dominator. I didn't get all the glyphics in there, but he says, Gary, I hope these make the podcast. This is the other group of photos from our trip to Munising in the UP of Michigan. Enjoy. Lake Superior looking north from the UP towards Canada is the second shot. But isn't that wonderful? Love it. There's that's looking into Canada right there. Yeah. Greg says it came out awesome. Thanks again. No, thank you, man. Appreciate it. And then here we go. We got, I guess that's looking over to Canada. Isn't that nice? Almost looks like Mattawa.
That does, doesn't it?
With the tree and the lit little gazebo thing there. Yep.
Ooh, Snowstorm. Thanks, buddy, for the $20.
Here, we're going to put that up there. That's a Mountain Madman.
Thanks, buddy.
I got to tell you, thank you so much. He says, thanks for the laugh today, Gary. Get yourself another beer to replace the one you spilled. Yeah, thanks, buddy. That's awesome. And you know what? Kirk's cell phone ring is that sound effect. It is.
That's awesome.
Every time I phoned him, I thought I was getting a super chat. I was going, more?
That's good.
That's my phone.
Is that your phone? That's awesome.
I don't own a phone.
He's Apple.
He's Apple. Yeah. That's the best. Yeah. This is from our man, Corey Brock. He says, Gary, here's a few pics from yesterday at the Halliburton Forest. Was decent considering not all that much snow, but it was able to do 150 kilometers with the wife and a couple of folks from Energy Power Sports. I must say the 2022 Renegade 850 is quite the rocket. Also got to take the wife's 600 EFI out for a boot, and wow, the value, such a great sled for a beginner. Also awesome to see the custom graphics I did out in the snow. Thanks again. Love the show. Cheers, guys. Yeah, so we actually made that match your jacket, so I put the plaid on it.
Nice.
You see that, Kirk? They come with red on it, and it's like, Corey's like, I got to get rid of the red, and I said, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
So I want to do but I do want to do the Skidoo logo in plaid too. I think that would
That's cool, man.
That would be good. What do you think of that sled there, Penny?
Which one?
The gray one.
Oh, the gray one.
Yeah, that's nice.
Isn't that nice?
It's a shorty. I'm used to the longer ones.
Hey,
Referring to snowmobiles.
It doesn't get far down. Kirk told me he doesn't get far down the hallway, but he'll bust the door frame on the way through. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And here's another picture here of the Energy Power Sports 900R Turbo, and we got Neil's XRS with the TX skis, and Corey's Black Beauty back there and the 600 EFI. So he said Shannon and his wife had a great time. So
Nice. That's awesome.
yeah.
That's what
So
it's about.
I know, isn't that cool? And then
Oh,
it
yeah.
looks like they had a run in with the OPP.
Yeah, of course they did, right?
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. There's her jacket. You can see that I made the sled match right there. So well, that's
Right
cool.
on.
Yeah, I was talking to
Very
my buddy.
cool.
He's a cop, and he says he loves traveling with people that don't have the right paperwork because it distracts the officers.
That's it, eh?
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
this is from John Hodgwanning. He says first trip to break in the new sled today at Halliburton Forest.
It's everyone and their mother goat was there.
Yeah, but you know what though? They limit the number of passes they sell,
100.
right?
100
Yeah.
a day, yeah.
100 a day. And Sled Addicts took like 90 of them, so there's only 10 left for the other ones, right?
Yeah, they
So
were
yeah, they
there.
were.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Corey said he's seen them, but they blew them off. They ignored them. Yeah, they ran the other way. First trip to break in the new sled at Halliburton Forest, 122K today. Brap on, and he says, P.S. My new sled looks awesome. Thank you
Right
so
on.
much, man. It's great. Yeah, it looks like lots of snow there. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dave Miller, hey guys, here's just a few pictures of the recent trip I had with my dad out to the west, Yellowstone. The snow was awesome.
Snow,
Rich?
buddy.
Rich, wait till you see these pictures, bud. You remember how Jeff was talking about Yellowstone?
Gary, so I was talking with Neil. This is a bucket list destination for snowmobiling. And I said to Neil, we need to ship our sleds out there, fly out there, ride around, and then come back, because because they opened it up to snowmobiling again, because they closed it down for like 6 years, right?
Yeah,
and it's back open for snowmobiling, man. And because that's where they do the snowshoot, right?
Yeah,
it's an amazing area.
Yeah.
Right on.
Check this. There's a few pictures here, man. Like,
look at the
I was
snow.
dying to send you these by text, Rich, but I didn't want to blow it. I didn't want to blow it. Look at these trees.
What the hell? That almost looks fake.
Oh, totally.
That is awesome.
We call that riding in the pillows.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Watch this. It just look at that trail.
Holy crow. Like, that's something. See, that's why they say that's a bucket list, right? Like, look at that. You're not going to see that often.
No. Well, if you go to Labrador, you would, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Kirk?
And Newfoundland.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
We
you go.
had a lot of pictures like that, like the one with the stuck.
Yeah. Do you get trees? Like, I've never seen trees that plugged up with snow.
Yeah, we
Oh,
do.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Depending
Well-
on how quickly we have the snowfall and like how dense it is. Yep.
I know Labrador, only that much of the treetop would be sticking out of the snow, though. That's the problem. That's the thing. You don't
That's
see trees
awesome,
like
man.
that because the trees are usually 90% buried, right?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, isn't that crazy? Like, it just now I see that and I go, okay, Jeff was on to something there with this Yellowstone thing, wasn't he? Pretty crazy. So Ryan, our buddy from Canuck Power Sports, Rich.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep.
Says, hey, Gary and Rich, he's been able to squeeze in it. He said, have I been able to squeeze it in on the new Steed yet? No, I haven't, but hopefully this week. Here are a few pictures for Monday's show, keeping with the endurance theme. The Great Northern Expedition Charity Endurance Snowmobile Ride or an Ice Association Endurance Ride offers sledders a chance to get their feet wet with endurance riding. See, that's what I said. You can start there, right? It could be a gateway to the future Cane Quest rider like Kirk. Our annual Great Ride Northern Expedition puts riders to the test at 400, 600, 800, or 1,000K loop. There's a riders meeting and banquet for the riders on Friday evening, and the event starts Saturday, March 5th at 7. The ride is self-guided, and participants will hit checkpoints along their chosen route. The ride starts and finishes in Cochrane, Ontario, and money raised benefits the Canadian Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Riders can register at CanuckPowersports.com. And the second item is Icy Cheeks Endurance, the Ice Endurance, the Ice Association is available for riders to complete endurance rides on their own time throughout the season. 400, 600, 800, 1,000 kilometer certifications are available, as well as featured rides such as a Wrap Tour, Gold Rush Tour, etc., all to be completed within 24 hours. And you go to iceassociation.com to do that. So that's self-guided. And then 3, putting out a checkpoint sign prior to, here it is. He's putting out a checkpoint sign prior to
Nice.
our Great Canadian Northern Expedition in Northern Ontario. These are the signs that riders will be hitting along the route. I've been in touch with the winner from the Snowmobile Sessions charity auction. I'm on a shift, but we'll be getting the token mailed out on Tuesday to the winner. All the best. Cheers, Ryan Hawkins, Canuck Power Sports.
Right on. Yeah, awesome event. Yeah.
Ryan, could you condense that next time? Lord Thunder and Jesus thereby.
Yeah. Nice. Right on.
No, that's
another great guy. Awesome.
He is, and he's doing good things. I mean, that's
for sure.
That's amazing. We enjoyed having him on the show, and that's what I was thinking. Is like I had no idea Cain's Quest was so grueling, and wait till you see these pictures coming up. It's insane. And I was thinking, that Great Northern Expedition would be a good way to see if you're into it, right? So
yeah, for sure.
Gary, I think Ontario's getting some tax breaks this year for traveling within the province as well. So it may be a great place to use up some of that free tax credits.
So you're saying Doug Ford will pay for all my gas in the 850 if I do that run?
That's it, eh?
They don't use any gas, do they?
Corey Brock says they do.
Yeah. I got my youngest son joining me this year, so I'm looking forward to that. We got him all geared up today, so I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
So you need some Ski-Doo stickers for the Polaris then. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did I ever tell you what John Sherrard said to me?
What's that?
So John and I were talking about Ski-Doo and Arctic and Polaris, and I love them all, by the way. But I've been started out in Yamahas. But so John says, "Well, this is the way I look at it. BRP is built by engineers, and Polaris is built by enthusiasts."
Yeah, could be a bad and a good thing. I don't know. We won't go there. Yeah. But can I ask you something, Kirk? Not to get ahead of myself here, but is John in a couple of those photos that you sent in?
He's definitely in one of the sled preps for sure.
Okay.
No, right.
I hope you got permission from him because he's a lot younger there, and
I'm looking forward to seeing these. That'll be awesome.
I look back at the pictures of our support crew, really who makes up the team, and
I wish John was watching tonight because it's like he's such a baby in these photos. It's awesome. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to verify because I'm going, I bet you that's John Sherrard, so.
I was at a milestone birthday with him a few years ago, so yeah, he's not a baby anymore like the rest of us.
Yeah. So Greg Kelly says, hey, Gary and Rich, here's a photo of a rest spot along the Madawaska River, a couple kilometers east of Whitney, Ontario. That's your area of riding. You like going up there, right, Rich?
What's that, Whitney? Oh, yeah, it's great up that way. It's beautiful.
Of course, this was taken January 2021. My prayers aren't being answered for snow in Renfrew County yet. Nice sled, Gary, and I hope Rich sends a few of his new sleds pics when he arrives. Take care, lads, and keep up the great work, Greg Kelly.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Right
Thanks,
on.
Greg. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. That's good, man.
Isn't this
Nice
amazing?
photo.
Now we're getting snow photos, though, eh, Rich?
Yes.
We've been dying for snow photos, and now we're getting a lot.
Oh, that's awesome, man. It's good to see.
So this is Mitch Williams, and you know where he is, Rich? Guess where he is?
Where's that? Oh, you know what? I was chatting with him today.
Okay, where was he then on this photo?
He was out west. I didn't see that. He did send me a picture.
Okay. So he's in Tug.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Right on. What was a low volume?
Hill.
I did hear it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he reached out to me today and shared with me how he mounts his GoPro on his CKX. So thanks, Mitch. Appreciate that, buddy. It was great, man. And I ended up doing that today. So that's good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great guy. Yeah. Nice wrap too, bud.
I know.
Nice
Isn't that cool?
wrap.
Yeah.
Wicked.
He says Tug Hill just shows how isolated lake effect snow can be in the Tug Hill region. He went from fresh snow a couple of inches to waist deep within 15 miles. The snow kept getting deeper and deeper. I eventually had to stop taking photos and start worrying about being able to see and running out of fuel, LOL. Also getting home to go to work so I can listen to the podcast.
Yeah. So he sent me a message today. He goes, I know I've been watching every podcast since the beginning. starting a new job where I drive 500 miles at night running doubles. So I started re-listening to every podcast from the beginning. So that's awesome, Mitch. Thanks, man. Gary and I appreciate it.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. We love hearing things like that. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. Look at that snow. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And then I threw this. Oh damn! I actually covered up this one. He's got a couple pictures of his sled buried. Can I get in here and edit this photo? Oh. Anyway, there's pictures. That's his behind these photos. Trust me, is this sled, and it's buried in snow up to the headlights.
Oh, nice bonfire.
But yeah, I put the bonfire in. That was another. He sent a whole bunch of pictures. I didn't know whether they're by mistake or not. But there's about 50 photos, and this one was in there. And I went. I look at this and I go.
There's a small town gathering there.
This isn't Canada. We'd have the freaking health officials with their making it all mask up. You know,
yeah, it's true.
Jeez,
buddy.
This is what the restaurants will look like up north this weekend, will it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's pretty crazy. But thanks for sending in your fan photos. And again, Monday by noon o'clock to fanphoto@mudbrats.com. Wisco Sledheads. I don't know. You must have the email address wrong because we got to get your photos up next week. So send them in if you can. So yeah. So Kirk Hastings. Do you know him?
Oh yeah.
Met him a few times.
Yeah, there we go. So here, I'm going to shift over to the side here. What do we got here? These are Kirk's like CAIN'S Quest photos.
Nice. Here we go.
This is the one you were talking about today, Kirk.
Yeah, so this was our first attempt. Let's go back to Toronto Snowmobile Show 2007 November, and then this is probably mid-March now. Dave and I somehow have been one of this is in 14th place out of 28 teams crossing the finish line. First guys from Ontario. A whole bunch of things went wrong. What you may not be able to make out, Dave's sled is actually being towed in a sleigh because we've got basically a suspension split right in half.
Jeez.
And the last 100 kilometers, the snowmobile would no longer go forward, and it was not able to tow it in the deep snow that was there. And the interesting thing about the snow in Labrador, I haven't touched on it. There's no humidity there. It's always cold.
Dry.
You don't get the milds like we do around the Great Lakes and in Newfoundland for that matter, with the ocean effect. So you just can't get around like you can in these snow conditions. So I had to leave him, and I believe I took the sat phone with me. I left him. That's it. I took the matches with me. So I left him broken down. He's got no matches, and he starts to get cold. So he's like, "Oh shit!" Now what am I gonna do? So he's a pretty ingenious guy, and God love him. His name's Dave Price, by the way. I'm not sure if I've mentioned my partner's name yet. He's been with me through all four of the CAIN'S quests. Anyways, he needs a fire, so he actually took a glove, a cotton glove that he had, like a mechanic's glove, dipped in his gas tank, and arcs out his battery, gets it on fire, gets a fire going, and just as he gets the fire going, there's a bunch of wolves in the background, right, starting to howl, and the wolves.
God.
Not small.
Nice.
So he's sitting there by the fire, and he did a great job getting going. Good job, Dave. And he's waiting for me. I was 4 hours driving 100 kilometers to the finish line. Guy by the name of Jerry Puckner says, "You'll never survive in that climb suit. Here's my Canada Goose jacket to put on over top." So I donned this Canada Goose jacket over top my climb suit, hook on to our support sled. Sorry, hooked on to somebody's sleigh. I can't remember who lent it to me now. I apologize whoever lent it to me. Somebody lent me a sleigh, and refueled, grabbed Dave, I think some water or something, and off I go, another 100 kilometers back to where he is. We get the sled and the sleigh and start heading to the finish line. It was probably minus 30 that night. Northern lights were out like you've never seen before.
Oh, wow. That would be amazing.
It's spectacular. But the snow was deep. So Dave was riding on the snowmobile. I don't think that was the right way to do it. Probably should have brought him on mine, but he kept falling over. So he'd fall over and the sleigh would upset, and the hitch would hook up and it would flip me. And we had a hell of a time that last 100 kilometers. I didn't think he'd ever speak to me again, to be honest with you. So we got to the finish line. we expected it to be dark. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. We thought nobody's going to be there. And lo and behold, we come around the corner and the lights are on, the finish line's lit up. And there's literally, the race officials. You can see Cliff Windsor in the background there with the white hat. He's there with the checkered flag. And awesome. Rob Gardner from Team Maine was there. 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like, man, oh man, guys, this is amazing. So we were like, wow, we couldn't believe it. An interesting point was, though, we were a day late getting back, so we didn't have a hotel room that night. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. No idea where to stay. And being Labrador, the gal that was at the checkpoint, she says, oh, don't worry, Jerry, my husband, said, no, you guys can come stay with us. So we actually got billeted that night with Jerry Beeson and Alice Osmond, and been best friends ever since.
That's awesome. And just to give people an idea, like Kirk sent me a couple of video links, and they're on Snowmobile or television from back in the day. And it's not his team; it's another team that won, I believe it was. And it's so draining on your body that these guys are describing the last little bit of the race that your body will only let you go about 30 kilometers an hour, which is not much faster than you can run. And it would be like bicycle speed. And the one guy said he just had to follow the lead sled because he couldn't even concentrate or focus or anything. He was just drained. Like if there wasn't his partner in front of him riding, he would have never finished. Like you're just that done.
Yeah, vision's a big problem. Like you get fatigued and you can't see, so you can't read the terrain anymore. And that's once your eyes go, everything else just next thing you crash, right? You smash off an A-arm, you run into a tree, and just it all falls apart on you at that point.
Yeah.
Now, what sleds were these, Kirk? Sorry, I don't think you were.
Interesting question. Thank you for asking. Back in 2007, in the mid 2000s, we were Yamaha 4-stroke guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had to have a Yamaha. So Dave had an Attack, which we went to Hartman Manufacturing and got rail extensions and made that into a 144 by 15 by inch and 3/4. And I was driving a Venture at the time because it was a sled that I could carry gear on, and I was trying to get off the Groom Trail, out of the Groom Trail world long before CAIN'S Quest, and that was my kind of Ontario off-trail sled, 144 inch and 1/4. I put an inch and 3/4 on for the race, and we showed up with Yamahas. And there's going to be another picture that comes up day one of preparation. We arrived in Labrador, and you'll see how the Yamahas got around in the snow that I had never seen like. It's sugar. It's no humidity, no bottom, and there's probably 5 to 6 feet of it. And it's not
nice. We'll keep going here because we got a lot of photos to show. So it's pretty crazy. Cool. Now, one thing you don't know is that they also Penny and Kirk also have a tourism company called I'll let you guys explain it.
So it's called SnoXcapes. We tout our slogan is not your typical island getaway. So what we do is it's like a snowmobile B&B. We bring people, typically our customers are from Ontario. So we bring them down here. We pick them up at the airport. They stay with us. We feed them. We arrange all of their rentals. So they're here in the Bog and Burn, waiting for them when they get here. And we ride every day and they ride with us. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
And then we take them back exhausted.
There's a Screeching right there. Is that what you're doing here?
What?
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing? Is a Screeching right here?
That's a Screeching. So it's very much a family affair, this whole SnoXcapes. So I cook, I do the breakfast and the trailside lunches. And my mom, who's sitting, where is she? I can't see her.
Underneath the rider.
No, that's Aunt Jean. So those are my aunts and uncles and everything. And the little girl holding the platter is my cousin's little girl, and it's my cousin. So yeah, we just all kind of do what we need to do, and
nice.
We give everybody the experience of the Newfoundland family hospitality, and off we go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've got a website, SnoXcapes.com, is it, with an X?
SnoXcapes.com, yep. And
Right on.
Facebook, Instagram.
Perfect.
So it's spelled just so it's SNOXCAPES. No W.
Right on.
Yeah.
Like that. I just put it in the chat. There we go. And we got a picture of some gas cans here.
So the first year, not having a bunch of scouting done or didn't know much about the route, we quickly learned you don't want to carry weight. So you see, 10 gallons of gas in the snowbank there. We actually like to use 6.6 gallon cans. And we would have either support crews now on the country, or in this case, we pre-ran the race, decided where we were going, and we actually would hide that gas. We tie a string to those handles and run it up to the tree, GPS it, and that would save us from trying to carry it, because you just cannot be competitive carrying all the weight of the fuel to go, these 500-kilometer distances.
Is there fuel stops on the route though? Like if you did need to fill up?
Definitely, whenever there's a community that has pumps, and they do try to route you to all those communities, but there's only so many of them. It's just when you head north, for the most part, and you get beyond your fuel range, this is one way of dealing with it. Yeah,
that's smart. Yeah.
I actually never got to those gas cans. Interesting story. And good friend of mine, Jean-Guy Aucoin, Team 25, he had that coordinate as well. And for some reason, he was not able to find those cans, and he ran out.
Oh my God.
From there. So when he ran out a kilometer from there, he walked back to try and find the cans.
Oh, wow.
Oh, geez. And he didn't find them.
I don't believe so. No, I wasn't real popular with him that day.
It's right near the second spruce to the right of that big mound.
You see the person walking the dog there? Just turn right at
that dog's a wolf in that land.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Well, we're gonna see some wildlife, that's for sure. It was wildlife that'll make Bullwinkle scared. This is pretty insane.
So that's the George River. That's a scouting trip. Not far from those gas cans, actually. That's that's 3 teams out scouting the race route. Gives you a pretty good idea of topography. Chances are you're going to do that at 3 o'clock in the morning, but it would be open water. That's a little bit of a waterfall. So just in front of that first sled, you see that flat area where it's flat as a pancake. That probably froze 6 hours earlier. So you got to be careful where you're going. But back to what I was saying about the race route, you're looking for no trees. You can't run through those trees in the forest areas. So you've got to run in areas that aren't. Unfortunately, it does push you to the ice a lot. And we all know the dangers of running the ice. It's always a concern.
So let's put it this way, Kirk. There's no freshly groomed flat trails, right?
Well, there is for the first kilometer out of the start line. And the last kilometer into the start line, you get a beautiful groomed trail.
And you're like,
Snowmobile Club does a wonderful job. But for the rest of it, you're looking at it and it gets worse.
So Gary, us complaining on a Sunday going back through Muskoka and Halliburton, where it's like this.
Yeah, that's
nothing.
So I can give you a little bit of Labrador lingo, Newfie lingo, actually. Every bump you hit is called a yes, ma'am. If you're driving down the trail and bang, yes, ma'am. Bang, yes, ma'am.
That's funny.
That's cool.
So we're kind of bouncing around a little bit. The fellow in the center there is Penny and I. And that's Jackson Hole, Wyoming, 2010, I believe.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And you said David McClure, who was on last week, right? Or
he would have probably been there that day. And I apologize. I didn't hone in on that last week when he was on. Mm-hmm. But I can guarantee you the fellow in the center, who goes by the name of Rex Hibbert, would be quite well known to David McClure. Rex is an old, the Hibbert family is.
Kirk Hibbert. Is that Kirk Hibbert's brother?
Sorry?
Is that Kirk Hibbert's brother?
That's Kirk Hibbert's brother from Hibbert Brothers Racing, absolutely.
Yeah, so Tucker Hibbert's uncle. Yep.
That'd be Tucker's uncle. You want to meet a gentleman, a cowboy, a snowmobile racer,
Yeah.
Genuine individual. Rex Hibbert is at the top of my list.
Mm.
Love
Great
the
family.
man. He's
Great family.
awesome. So
Yeah.
he invited Penny and I out. We became really good friends the first day back in 2008 when I had those foolish Yamahas at the starting line. He befriended us, and Rex had us come out to his ranch, and he said, "Well, we're going to go to the hill climbs." And we're at the bottom of the hill climbs. He goes, "Well, this isn't very good seating. We're going to be hill help." So he goes and talks to the race officials and gets us the hill help designation and the gear. And now we're trying to catch these sleds. They're coming back down the hill doing cartwheels. It was quite interesting.
That's awesome.
Thank you again, Rex.
I ran in the woods, just so you know. When I saw the belly pans coming at me, I was in the woods. I was like, "Sorry, you're on your own."
So the reason I wanted to show this picture was, I'm very proud to be a friend of Rex's, and it was a great event. And Dave's, I know what Dave would have gone through in that type of hill cross racing as just as a bystander. It's incredible what those guys do when you're standing there and see the sheer incline on that mountain.
Yeah.
But I find the snowmobiling community is like one big family, and we all share these adventures. And as we're doing tonight with you guys, Gary and Rich, these relationships are forever. It's
for sure.
Yeah.
It's a different community. Gary and I have said that, and it doesn't matter. We can jab each other for what we ride or whatever, but at the end of the day, we just love the sport, right? So it's awesome.
Absolutely.
A lot of mutual respect.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and that's the thing. Pictures always make hills look not as steep, right?
Oh,
this hill looks steep in the photo.
Steep.
So what is that?
Honestly, it's not even doing it justice.
No.
I've never seen.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And to think David won 8 championships, right? Like that's awesome.
That's
cool.
incredible feat.
So this is the hill. So that's the slope of the hill, and you're standing up like that. It's almost like you could almost just lean back, and you're like lying on the hill. It's crazy. Like they have stones this big. They must.
Funny story though. The racers are crazy, but the fellows, and I'm not saying I'm one of them. I was that day, but the fellows at the hill help that tries to save these sleds from sheer disaster. Man, they are crazy.
It's like a rodeo clown in hand.
Oh,
That's it, Gary. Good analogy.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And look at this. That says minus 40.
So it doesn't matter if you guys are in the US or Canada. It doesn't matter. It's Fahrenheit, Celsius. It's minus F and 40.
That's where it meets, right? They're both the same.
They are both the same, and it's 3 clicks below.
So that's I don't know if you haven't been in those temperatures on snowmobile. Your seat is very interesting. It changes form, becomes this rock hard lump that you try to ride, and I'll tell you, it's not for the faint of heart.
Would you run heated seats in that event?
Well, interesting question, Gary. What you don't want to do is melt snow and create water. So
True.
The answer would be no for that type of race, because you cannot afford to get wet.
Yeah, true. Yeah, pretty wild. This is the gas can photo. One of them I was talking about.
So same.
That would run my 850 for a season, I think.
So same trip. I think we had planned on that was up north. That's on the George River. We're probably trying to avoid the waterfalls there. Fell in the background. He's an interesting character. Goes by the name of George Rogers from Happy Valley Goose Bay. George is in that picture is probably 62. I'm thinking years old. He is a colorful individual, to say the least. Lives on the land, does a lot of trapping. He's got a whole bunch of businesses, but he's a fan favorite in Labrador when he does choose to race. So George isn't afraid of anything. He's a part grizzly bear, I believe, and he got himself in this predicament, and he just shrugs it off, and off he goes. Hard on equipment. That, by the way, that Scandic was the second one of that trip. He broke the first one. He broke, I can't remember, his A-arms on it. Had to go back. That was a brand new one. Had just been, just come off the factory, and he hooked it on and off he went. So that gives a good photo of what the terrain's like and what we do when we're scouting out the trip.
Yeah, this is scouting and you're hiding fuel, right? How do you know it's your fuel though? Is it marked? Is it marked that this is Team 7 or?
Typically, you keep your cards pretty close to your chest when it comes to where your fuel is. Now, you do have alliances. There's a few teams that I'd share everything with, and wouldn't be that guy though. He'd go rehiding on you. He's a character.
Leave you a treasure map. No, if you came across another team's fuel, is there ethics that you don't touch it, or do some people not care?
I look at it as a matter of life or death. You can't leave somebody trapped up in Northern Lab and anywhere like that. So I've really never heard of anyone's fuel being displaced. Yeah, it's unwritten rule. Like I say, it's life. You saw that thermometer.
Yeah,
that stuff out there, right? Can't get wet.
Yeah, good point.
You got, there's lots of rivalry out there, but really at the end of the day, everybody wants to see everybody back to safe and sound.
Yeah, true. Pretty crazy. It's not Cochrane then where you get your fuel stolen in the warm-up hut.
So speaking of warm-up hut, that looks like a green sausage there, doesn't it?
It does.
That picture.
It doesn't look warm in that hut. What are you talking about? Look at the floor.
Yeah, that was
solid.
We actually.
I've ice fished in warmer huts than that.
We actually had to take full.
This is where the cod came that Penny had earlier. This is where the cod came out from.
Yeah.
It wasn't her mother's freezer.
Mutters.
We actually had to
Hey, I
take
think I've got that cool. Kirk, sorry, I think I got that cooler that's back there on the left, the green Cuomo with the flip up lid.
Leave it to Gary looking at the back.
Anyway, go ahead.
This table
your
Gary
show
too.
So,
exactly.
I was mentioning Jerry Beeson at the finish line, building us for the night that we didn't have a hotel room. Jerry then became we've been very good friends with him since. Jerry became very active in our support crew. So that's Jerry trying to get some sleep at this cabin. Probably the same trip as that last photo. That was just a trapper's cabin, maybe 250 kilometers north of Churchill Falls, just on the George River. But all in between all the logs, there was like 2-3 inch gaps. So the boys actually took an old foam mattress that was there on one of those beds and started chinking all the gaps in to try and retain a bit of heat. And we didn't do a great job of retaining heat, but you just did what you can to try and get a few hours sleep.
Right on.
Was there a wood stove in there?
There was, yeah. I think it got up to about -10 when we got it warmed up.
Wow.
From -40. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you always sleep near the pee bucket or?
No.
Yeah, I know. You don't have to explain it to me. We're moving to the next picture, okay?
Same trip. Same trip.
We hope Jake doesn't have to go number 2 when you're sleeping there.
Yeah.
So that photo is same trip. It ended up just being George and I. The last day, we were getting low on fuel, believe it or not. We're getting low on gas. So we were north of Shefferville. And George and I were trying to scout out this one route to what's called Club Chambeau. It was actually in Quebec. We were out of province then. One of the checkpoints was or several checkpoints that year were in Quebec. And George and I got really dangerously low on fuel. And he was really starting to sweat about it. And keep in mind, this guy is pretty solid resident of Labrador. And I had a bit of an ace up my sleeve and ongoing shenanigans. I pulled over in this lake and I said to George, how much would you give me if I pulled 2 cans of gas out of the snow and within 10 miles of here? And he says, Kirk, I'll get you a 60 a rum as soon as we get to Shefferville. And I said, follow me. And real good friend of mine, Jason Watkins, had been up scouting earlier that winter and wasn't able to go any further. I believe it was due to a snowmobile went through the ice and there were some mechanical problems after that, and they turned around and went back in that group that was scouting. So he had buried 2 6.6 gallon cans of gas that I had GPS checkpoint or GPS waypoint for. So over George and I went dump the gas in our sleds, and it was actually the only way we made it back to the closest community, which was in the province of Quebec there in Shefferville that night. So he was scratching his head how that all went down.
And Kirk did a 60-pounder of lambs.
That's love right there, you know. Yeah. At least he came through for you.
Gary, over your shoulder, there's an orange helmet. Just while we're talking about Arctic Cats, the warmest helmet ever produced in this world, I believe, it is that Arctic Cat. Is it a TXI 330? I think is the model, and it's been a while since I've.
Yeah, let's just rephrase that because this is 2012. You haven't put an oxygen obviously on yet, have you? The BRP oxygen is the warmest helmet. It's heated.
You cannot rely on electrics in Labrador. You've got to go with no wiring.
Yeah, true.
You break a wire, you're done.
Well, then the mission's pretty good unplugged, isn't it, Rich?
Yeah, that's a great helmet. That's an awesome helmet too.
Yeah. So, what's the NIOSC on site? Oh, that's a spam. Here, I got to get rid of that one.
Yeah.
Hold it. Block that guy.
Don't get too many people doing that. But.
I know. We get a few of them.
Yep.
Usually when it's good guests like this, they all come in here and try and jump on our things. So there we go. Gone. Okay. That was good. So I should take you snowmobiling when you get home here tomorrow and you can find all the gas for me along the routes. Is what you're saying.
Mark up the GPS units. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's same scouting trip. We didn't have the luxury of our trapper's cabin, so we actually had to put wall tents up, and we were also had a little wood stove in them, and that was home for the night.
How cold would it have been this day? Like
probably minus 20. Like it wasn't always. That could have been minus 20, minus 25.
Balmy.
No humidity.
No. But it's dry. It's like Winnipeg it's like Winnipeg 0, right?
Yeah.
Newfoundland minus 20.
Now inside that tent that night, I bet you it was like 75, 80 degrees Celsius.
Nice.
Yeah. Till the stove went out, but it was as long as George kept the stove.
Celsius, Fahrenheit.
No.
Yeah.
What did I say?
Celsius.
I don't know the difference either. So.
That would have burned the hair right off
Well,
your head.
half the fans would know what I'm talking about.
You'd look like Gary if it was that hot in there.
Or me too.
Hey, Penny, you can't grow grass on a busy street, all right?
Exactly. There you go. Not only made so many perfect heads, the rest you covered with hair, right?
So there's Barry Callahan and myself in the tent, same tent.
Right on.
Nice.
And I bet he's not nest quick in his cup either.
Oh,
no,
well, the fella to the left looks like he's 3 sheets.
Honestly, he had some suspension trouble. Interesting story. Barry,
So he's hurt.
His brain's rattled.
His brain's rattled. He's looking like
he broke his front torque arm right in half that day on his super wide track, and I'm looking at it going, we'll never, like, how is this snowmobile going to move? It'll never move. And he wasn't too stressed about it. I was stressed out about it. So I was thinking someone's got to fly a torque arm past us and throw it out the window of the airplane, and that's the only way we're going to get the snowmobile because we're now 500 kilometers from Churchill Falls.
Jeez.
Well, George Rogers and Barry, they start cutting wood, and they got these big nails and wire and duct tape, and they literally reinforced the broken torque arm with alder branches and these great big spikes that George was carrying, wired it together, and off they went. That's one of the reasons we separate at the end as well. George and I went our own because Barry didn't want to go any further north. He wanted to get back, towards the community. But
that's
some of that eye look that Barry's got there is because he had a hell of a day trying to keep that stuff.
Oh yeah, I bet. I
imagine.
Yeah.
So you're talking like the DSA arms, right, on the older sleds?
No, the front. So on the rear skid, your front, what I call the front arm, your front.
Oh yeah.
Your front arm, your torque arm.
Yep. That was what was broken.
He broke that great clean half, both tubes.
Jeez.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Do you reinforce your stuff like before the races, or like you said, something else is going to break around it, right?
I think we've got a picture of my skid.
We do.
We can talk about that.
We do, yeah. Oh, here we go. I thought you guys were just on Pornhub here. I didn't know what you were doing here. Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that when Penny was on the line.
Well, that was Patty.
Yeah, that's Patty there. He looks good.
That's awesome.
I don't blame Kirk at all.
So there's George. There's George there on the right hand side.
I was going to say he's just enjoying himself, looking off to the.
Yeah.
No, he wants me to do all the work, or you do all the computer work. I'm just going to sit here and have another.
He's like, I'm just going to have a drink here. You pull up the.
There's the 60-pounder of lambs there in the background.
Oh, yes.
Right next to the piss bucket.
Right. And his Nesquik mug.
That's awesome.
So that's it.
But in all seriousness, though, like this is just to reiterate, this is a pre-planning thing. This isn't during the event.
That's the same cabin that Jerry was sleeping in the sleeping bag. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, it's actually a pretty big cabin.
Same cabin. Yeah. I believe it is anyway. Yeah.
A little cluttered, but not too bad.
This is
that's scouting. Yeah.
Yeah. I like how you just open up the kitchen drawer and just throw a piece of firewood in it.
The Pepsi on the burner there on the stove that hasn't worked since 1912.
Yeah, there's no power out there.
In Newfoundland, it's called Pipsy.
Pipsy, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool. That's good. No, but I mean, you don't imbibe when you're actually in the race, though, right? Your head's. You're like, so this is, how long does it take you to scout out trails? It's, you take your time and you do different sections for a few days and then you go home and then you come back and do different sections, or.
Well, keep in mind, home is 2,400 kilometers away. So
wow.
You go there once. In this particular case, there was probably 5 teams sort of scouting together, and some teams will do certain sections. We missed some of it.
Yeah,
we did miss some of it. Every time you miss it, you always run into trouble there. But
right,
the best thing to do is try and do the whole thing. But that's 3,500 kilometers driving with a sleigh in tow. That's a 2-week minimum.
That's put it this way. Let's put it to perspective. That's like riding down to Florida from Ontario. Right. Think about that.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
No, put it into perspective.
Yeah, but Florida has highways. It's like,
no, but I'm saying the distance.
Go 30 feet off the highway and ride straight.
Yeah. But it's the distance, though, man. That's crazy.
Oh, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Uncle Buck says lambs and Pepsi.
Yeah.
Oh, mutton and gravy in Labrador.
Mutton and gravy,
yeah. Mutton and gravy.
Uncle Buck and Mrs. Uncle Buck and Lisa and I are going to come out and do the ice escapes. Snow escapes. Sorry. Yeah. Ice escape again.
What sport are you thinking about, buddy?
Yeah, exactly.
We've got some ice coming for you here shortly.
Oh, I bet.
Look at that.
Same one, I think. Same, yeah.
That's a Scandic, right?
Look at all the crap on there.
Yeah, he got his Molson Canadian bag.
Can you zoom in on George for a second, please?
So George is
to the right there in front of the sled.
Just zoom in there as best you can.
That's as close as I can get.
Okay, so George is wearing his favorite helmet. That helmet is something your great grandfather wore.
Oh, it's flip up.
Yeah, it's a flip up.
It's just got the glass. You can smoke on it though, right? Does he smoke?
And George is a smoker for sure. So that and he's tough as a cement nail as well.
He invented the BRP modular with that helmet, I think.
So George had that helmet in the tent, that probably the same night as the picture with the tent a few pictures ago. And over the course of the night, the helmet slid down the guy wire and ended up against a stovepipe and completely melted it into about 6 sizes too small for him. I've never seen a grown man cry as much as he did when that happened. That was his favorite helmet. He tried beating it back out with his fist, but with no luck. Oh man, it was.
Oh man.
Could you know what? We went
replacement.
Yeah, we went to Sledorama, Rich. You can attest.
Oh yeah, you could have found it.
100 of them.
There was a bunch of them there.
If you can get George another helmet like that, he'd really appreciate it.
Give us his size. We'll get him a couple next year.
Yeah, you got it. Oh, here we're getting some celebrity action here.
So 2011. In 2011, the weather patterns were crazy. I don't know if you guys remember. It was 11 years ago. Weather patterns were crazy. The North Atlantic never froze along the coast of Labrador. So the race route just didn't work. It was going to be too dangerous to route the racers along the coast of Labrador. So the organizer at the time, specifically Todd Kent, chairman of the race, he came up with a new route that took us up into Quebec, into Kuujjuaq, which is basically the salt water up in Ungava Bay. So if you draw a line from Labrador and just keep going due north, you hit salt water. That's where Kuujjuaq is. And but there was no way for them to get fuel in. So they felt it was going to be an unfair advantage for teams that had time to put fuel in. So they made a rule that year. You've got to tow a sleigh. I think it's 4 cans of gas per team had to go with you and leave Shefferville full, I believe is how it went. Just to even up the odds for everybody. So we were forced to wear a sleigh, we were forced to tow a sleigh. And I'll get more into that in a few seconds. But what happened, this is the starting line. Snowmobiler TV, they're doing the interviews pre-race. They did a race video every year that we raced. And you can see the sleighs that we hand built there. But it started to rain that morning. So the fear was, the forecast was +3 and rain in Labrador City. When we got to Shefferville, Quebec, I think I was going to be around 6 o'clock at night if you didn't have any trouble, which we did. It was going to drop to -30, and then overnight, and by the time we got to Kuujjuaq, it was going to be -40. I think it was -42, -45. So the problem was, how do you leave in the rain and not perish in Kuujjuaq? So we didn't wear our snowmobile suits. We wore mid layers and put on these went and bought disposable rain suits basically to leave the starting line with.
That's hence the yellow rain suit.
Oh, yeah.
So they were Team Nuclear Banana.
Can I tell you something though, Kirk? If you ever want to get on snowmobiler television, you don't have to do this. Right, Rich? You just have to come on every Monday night and sit and talk about snowmobiling on YouTube, and next thing you know, you're on Snowmobiler TV.
That's awesome.
Of course, he did make us wear the yellow rain suits, though, didn't he, Rich? But actually, Joe Caraco 422, he says, do these guys ever have to deal with wolves while camping in the backcountry?
Mm-hmm. Tell about you and Sarah.
Well,
but they're more afraid of you than anything, right?
There's one story I probably shouldn't tell. Maybe it'll come out a little later. Get
him a shot of Screech, and he'll be talking.
Yeah. Well, there's another picture a little further on where those expeditions. I'll tell you the story right now. I'll start it. Those gas cans, those military gas cans, I wanted to use the strongest possible can because we were trying to travel, 80 to 120 kilometers an hour with these sleighs in tow. So. Mm-hmm. This design was from the Harricana race. There was another cross-country race in Quebec. It was called the Harricana or Challenge Canada. Back, I want to say in the 80s, very similar type race. And they had to tow a sleigh. And I think for the most part, it was 3-man teams. So look, those racers had some pretty good ideas. And we picked up from there and sort of built our own. But we bought these military gas cans thinking, we're going to forget the regular Scepter cans. We're gonna have the best money can buy. So Dave was in charge of that. I'm gonna throw Dave on the bus for a second. He buys them at a military surplus store, used, and shows up the race. Okay, we got the best money can buy, and so we got them full of premium gas. That's the other key too. The only place to get premium gas was in Labrador City. Everywhere else at the time didn't have it. So you had to
$8 a gallon.
So fill them full of premium gas. We're set. Away we go. And we'll go further into that story when you get to the picture of the expedition stripped down and us in our banana suits there in Shefferville, Quebec.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got another one here. Well, we're going to see some wildlife. Just stay tuned, guys. It's well worth it.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's the same cabin.
No, going back to that fuel thing. Sorry to interrupt here. Yeah. Is there any benefit of running like a 900 Ace or 900 Ace Turbo that runs on pump gas?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. There's definitely benefits. There's some reliability benefits. There's some
Weight though.
you say 900 turbo or 900 natural?
Well, 900 natural even, but I mean they're kind of gutless wonders like the E-Tech, right? Well, the E-Tech's probably better, but the 900 turbo runs on pump gas, does it not, Rich?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yep.
You're a 4-stroke guy. I'm pretty sure it does. Yeah.
Yep, it does.
There's been second place last year at a Lancelot representing Yamaha. The O'Brien family put that team together, and they did very well on I'm going to say sidewinders
998
with a turbo.
Yeah.
Now they're if you looked up Mr. Yamaha in Canada, you'd see a picture of Miles O'Brien, the owner of the Yamaha dealership in Lancelot, and I praise him for that. That's not making fun of them. They had a very well put together snowmobiles, and they're diehard Labradorians. Like they're tough as cement nail as well. So they ran a really good race on turbos. I couldn't do it only because of the weight. You got 40 pounds on the skis, right? Compared to try doing 3,500 kilometers in terrain, deep snow. You've already got enough things working against it. You don't need anchors on your skis, right? For me, anyways, that was my own.
Yeah, true.
Now we ran expeditions in 2009, which were 625 pound sleds, just because we got stuck so many times in 2008 on the Yamahas. It was sort of kind of like going to the grocery store hungry. Like we just overkill, right? And Penny was in Iceland at a trade show in the mid 2000s and saw Lynx as BRP Lynx as a manufacturer. And she said to me when we were trying to retool for 09, you should think about racing Lynx snowmobiles. I didn't have a clue what she was talking about. What's a Lynx, right? So you go online and good old web and I found a 600 SDI Commander. And I looked at it, went, hey, 20-inch wide track, 600 SDI, there's a machine. Well, then you look at the Skidoo lineup and you go, hang on, Skidoo Expedition 600 SDI, it's the same sled. They just put garbage shocks on it. That's all. It was the only difference. They put decent, Yanni Tapio and his crowd in Finland put great shocks on the Lynx offerings, but when they got washed down when they came in North America, and they put a Skidoo sticker and garbage shocks on it. So that's the direction we headed, only because we didn't want to get stuck all the time. But
yeah, true. Yeah.
625 pound sleds are not fun either.
No. No, you were explaining this when I cut you off. Sorry about that. I'll blame Penny.
What? I get blamed for everything.
I know. Is this a warming hut?
So that's the same cabin as you saw with the computer works, and the one that Jerry was sleeping in the green sausage. That just gives you a different perspective of that cabin on the George River.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now are these just like open cabins all the time that anybody can just hop into to warm up?
Yes, but that was the Bears had ripped that one apart. Like the door, I think, was ripped off, and we got there. We actually had screws and nails, and we had to reconstruct the front door and like I say, chink all the gaps in the logs just to try and make it usable. I'd say nobody been in it for years.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was probably a fly-in camp.
So that they built and then they just abandoned it.
Yeah, just move on, got elderly or whatever, right?
Yep.
That's the you see the clothesline that George's helmet was on, and falling down into the stovepipe.
I love it. The stories you must have though is just insane, right?
We haven't got enough time, I can tell you that.
No, I know. And this is that tarp tent that you showed earlier, right?
Yeah, Labrador wall tent.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh, nice.
There are some trees like that.
So we're fast forwarding to Newfoundland now. We're talking about the Pillows and West Yellowstone.
SnoXcapes.
The Appalachian Mountain Range here in Newfoundland also get you some CFX snow and
looks like ice cream cones. It looks awesome.
It does.
Soft ice cream. That's wild.
How deep would you say that is there as far as?
So that's just outside Grossmore National Park.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is the only national park in Canada you're allowed to snowmobile in certain corridors in. That's outside that park on what's called the North Arm Hills in the Gregories. And that area, if you look up snowfall depths for Canada, you'll find Grossmorn gets about 16 feet of snow
Wow.
yearly. Now, some of it will melt. Yeah. Some of it melts, some of it comes back, but you can be guaranteed a nice solid 8 feet, probably where those trees are.
Wow. There's a bowl somewhere in Newfoundland that people ride in. Is this where it is?
It's 5 minutes from where that picture was taken.
Okay,
Nice.
that's where when I was out there, these guys said you got to come back. It's well worth it.
Yeah.
We're gonna take you here and blah blah. And they sent me clips of it, and it's like, oh yeah, this looks unbelievable.
That's right in their backyard.
There's
That's
2 places. One is in the Lewis Hills that has a really cool bowl. But when people talk about the bowl, it's typically the North Arm Hills, which is where this is.
Okay, cool. Noble Shit says in Whitefish Bay Ski Hill, they call those white ghosts. That's north of Yellowstone or north of Glacier National Park in Montana. That's what he says. But yeah, it's insane. The snow, like we're gonna get into more pictures of snow that'll blow your mind.
so that's CFX snow. That's in their backyard.
No.
That's 10 minutes from the house.
No.
So that's a 20 wide on the left, and that's Penny on her.
My Scooby Doo that he sold on me. I like Scoobs.
Penny
Oh, I love the color of that free ride. It's amazing. Yeah.
It
So
went
I was when I was out there, it was maybe 2017. It was 2017 because Rev Gen 4 was just launched.
Yep.
And I had the brochure from the dealership that I took to read on the plane because it's such a crazy flight. And when I come back home, there was a newfie sitting beside me, and I got the brochure out to read and drool over it. And he said, "Hey, buddy, when you're done with that, can I have a look at it?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I gave it to him, and I'm looking at the first few pages. It's all like the oxygen helmet was released that year, and the MXZ and the XRS. And it's all Gen 4, and it's like, and he just goes flip right back to the Tundra pages, and there's still XP chassis back then. He's going, that's what I want. This is amazing sled. Look at that. And it's like, it's still like 2009 technology he's looking at, but the short and front end and stuff. And it's funny perspective because then he started talking about this, like all the deep backcountry riding, and basically you point your sled and go. So
It's nothing to get a 3-foot snowfall. That's
no.
in the nor'easter or something.
Kirk, I got a viewer that watches, a buddy of mine. He's not in the chat room, but he texted me here. He's like, I'd be curious what they do for clothing. He says he sees a lot of climb gear there.
Good question.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to let Penny explain this picture. I'm going to go get something you might find interesting on that topic.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This picture here is an area. So remember we talked about the North Arm Hills where the bowl was?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's just down from where we live, there's a bunch of arms. So an arm is basically like an inlet that comes in off of the bay or off the ocean. So this one here is what's called Goose Arm. So this is actually salt water, and we're riding up the arm to get into Goose Arm so we can hit the trail and go on into North Arm. So
that's cool. You're riding on the salt water. That's cool.
Yeah, and this doesn't happen every winter. So it's a bit of an anomaly when you can actually get on it and go like this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. And in regards of clothing, for the race and stuff, and even for here, like we wear climb gear. It's all weather dependent. It depends upon the day and the conditions and stuff. I wear my Canada Goose coat quite a bit just because why be cold when you don't have to be? I wear my woolen Guernsey that I had on for the Screeching. But Kirk's actually gone in to get something that's really cool. I think he is. He had these sized for us. It's called Skookum. I don't know if you can see it. So
look at that. Here, let me make you big here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Boom.
Yeah. So they make them in the Yukon. They're like a traditional anorak.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right on.
So he
Covers
had
your
this
butt.
made for us for Christmas.
Nice.
So that would be very common for
Labrador.
You find the coastal Labrador. They would handmade anoraks. So a lot of teams would run traditional anoraks.
Nice.
So I'm going to start with boots. Something I've learned over time I talked to you about the Arctic Cat helmet. The best possible boot you can put on your foot, to survive this climate is called a bunny boot. So this is a U.S. military winter warfare boot that's designed, for Arctic warfare.
Yeah.
And
Paratroopers.
basically, it's all rubber, and it's got I believe it's like a wool insert inside, but then that's also encased in rubber, so it's rubber on both sides.
Wow.
And then you've actually got an air valve, which you got to Loctite close.
Ooh, it's like the Nike Jordan Airs.
Well, that's for paratrooping, right? So they open that up so it doesn't blow up when they
The pressure changes. Yeah.
So you got to make sure you glue that shut, or it could fill full of water. So the theory behind this boot is the insulation layer will never get wet, but when your foot goes down in the water, it happened to me many times during the race, you get into overflow, or you'd be in a situation where your foot went down, the water went in your boot. It's just, what happens is about 5-10 minutes, the heat from your foot will warm the water up. It'd be like your foot was in a water bed. It'd be lukewarm, and off you go for another 24 hours because the insulation layer never got cold. So
yeah, it never leaves. The cold never gets back in once that water's in there. Yeah.
That's a lifesaver, that boot. You dump it out, dry it out, put a fresh set of wool socks on, off you go. You never had a liner you were trying to dry out.
Isn't that something? Now, Kirk, where would you get that? You're not going to Royal Distributing for that sucker.
Well, the Americans,
Walmart.
your American fans have an upper hand because they've a lot of their Army surplus stores handle them.
Oh,
But I
okay.
can tell you from experience, being a size 9, you can barely find a size 9 anymore. You can find off sizes pretty good, but you cannot find 9s, and 8 to 10 is getting really tough, because I want to say they stopped making them like in the 80s.
Oh, they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, that boot there, I don't know if there's a date on it or not. I've got 2 pairs. That was probably built in, it's made by Bata, by the way.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Beta
That was
shoes.
probably built in 1983.
Yeah. Like they've been gone for a while. Since,
So interesting. So I wonder what the military uses now. That's interesting.
I can't answer that. I thank Rex Hibbert, by the way. He's the one that put me on them and got me my first set. I got one for you, boys. You're going to laugh at this. Let's see how good your camera is.
What you trying to do?
All right, I got to read it. Hey, any guesses on the date, Gary?
you said it's beta. So that is
80s.
It's not 89. It would be 5
84.
years, 4 years.
I'm going to say
On
84.
top of that. I'm going to say
September
2003.
September
2003.
25th, 1975.
What?
75. Jesus.
1975, Joe.
No,
That's a 45-year-old boot.
Yeah.
And the driver's even older.
And we're gonna auction it off tonight for the lucky.
So this is what I wear.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
those
there you
are
go.
awesome.
So you're going to Nuvik. You're going Inuit boots. That's sealskin.
So these are sealskin. And I wear these. I never wear socks. I just wear these with the fur or with the liners. And I've worn them in Labrador -40, and I've worn them down here like whatever normal temperatures. So
Natural water repellent. You won't get a better boot than that sealskin. Yep.
She's very stubborn. She's got 2 pair of bunny boots and she won't wear them.
no.
Wow.
I have the bunny boots, which are the white ones, and I have the black ones like that, and they're called the Mickey Mouse ones. And I do not find them as warm. And as I said, if you have something to keep you warm, wear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rich, I just gonna real quick go through it. So bunny boots, wool, everything, no cotton. Like stay away from any cotton. I'm a big believer in merino wool. So to be merino wool socks, merino wool underwear. Then I would go like a pair of long johns, like a base layer. Then I'd go merino wool mid layer. Then I'd probably go merino wool. I try to get merino wool like a 300 outer, almost like a track pant type thickness on an outer layer, and then climb bibs. I'm a big believer in Gore-Tex. Yep. Especially in a racing application, you will be, and mountain type riding, you will be sweating. So climb bibs with that. you may need you may need one more layer. I would carry one more layer to put under that climb bib if it got really cold. And then same with undershirts, like probably a merino wool t-shirt, merino wool turtleneck, zip down, always zip down. So when you get hot, you can open it up. Then I would go to a mid layer. Then I would go to a real thick wool jacket probably. And then my tech vest. And then a climb outer shell. Mm-hmm. And then at night we would carry, after that first year, we would actually have a Canada Goose parka, oversized to go over top of the whole thing.
Right.
And the idea was ride with it, and then you could jump off your sled. You could lay in the snowbank, go to sleep for 20 minutes, just give your eyes a rest.
Wow.
Like wearing a sleeping bag.
Nothing you do is artificially heated. It's all natural. Like J-Fly Low, I think it was. No, Noble Shit said, do you have any experience with heated gloves?
I don't believe in wires for that type of application. Now, interestingly enough, I actually put a heated seat on my Expedition only for comfort, and I know I can't use it when I'm dealing with snow. So different application here in Newfoundland. I'm just doing a bit of guiding, right? So it's not up in Labrador. You can't trust a wire in those backcountry conditions if your life depends on it. So gloves, I get really cold fingers. I would run like a merino wool, like a tight, almost like a mechanic's glove made of merino wool. And then if I could run like a climb togwoody glove, I would. But I'd also have a Gore-Tex gauntlet, like a mitten, basically, to keep all your fingers together. And then if you see in the picture, the race pictures, you'll see that I had a handguard with a massive giant loop deflector on as well to keep the wind off. So trying to stay away from wires if you can.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'd be thinking maybe you don't want to make yourself sweat because that's the worst, right? Like
absolutely.
But marine wool's good for that, Kirk. Am I right? Like it wicks away moisture and it's natural insulation.
Since the insulates and it keeps you cool in the summer too. It works. Wool works on both behalves, hot and cold.
Yes.
I wear it every day for everything now. I don't. If it doesn't have merino on it, I won't wear it.
That's amazing.
Oh, there's a cookout.
This is SnoXcapes, right?
It is.
Yeah.
This is a boil up at lunch hour.
That's amazing. That's cool.
Goose sausages.
And safety first with the eye protection.
No, I didn't have any sunglasses. It was really bright.
Oh, you would be snowblind. Like that's got to be a problem out there when you're in the backcountry too, right?
Yeah, your oxygen helmet won't solve you from that.
Hey, come on.
So this is in a place, we call it Chaos Canyon. So you're up in the hills, up around like North Arm Hills, up in the Appalachian Mountain Range. And then we jump in these canyons and we start going down and following little rivers. And this is a place we love taking our guests because, and I'll show it. There's another picture coming up that's actually in Chaos Canyon. It shows you like how fun it is when you're going down into it. So it is there. Yeah. So the picture where we're cooking is kind of at the end of Chaos Canyon, but you're coming down and it's just like you're in a little luge trail and you're popping up over and you're going down and it's pretty cool. That's
amazing.
That's probably 10 kilometers from the ocean.
Yeah.
And at about 1,400 feet above sea level, I'd say.
That's awesome.
How many tourists do you take? How many guests do you get on SnoXcapes a year? Is it something you reveal or?
To me, I wouldn't want any more than probably 5 groups because in the off season we work construction in Ontario, and our spring, summer, and fall is really busy. Mm-hmm. We would like a good number is 4 to 5 groups, and like we only take bookings from mid-February right now until the end of March. So usually that would be like about 4 weeks. And then that gives us time to come down and enjoy stuff too ourselves, right? A little bit of downtime for us. Yeah.
Nice.
True. You don't want morons like me coming out there and taking all your time up, right?
Well, you never know. We might teach you a few things. And then you won't be a moron.
Gary and I are heading out.
That's some big promises there. I'm telling you. My wife will want that in writing. Yeah.
We want Newfie steak with eggs in the morning, though.
That's
there you
right.
go. So this is another example. So this is SnoXcapes. So this is over in another mountain range called the Lewis Hills. So this would be on the opposite side. Like the Northern Hills is on one side, and the Lewis Hills is on the other. So this one is called I can't remember. Is this one? This one I think is called Wheeler's Gulch or something.
Okay.
So what you're looking at, all of the rock that you see that's really brown.
Mm-hmm.
So that's called mantle rock. So you're above the tree line there, and then you're going down. We drop down into the tree line. So basically the thing with the mantle rock in Newfoundland is basically back when the continents were all one. And then, like, they had the tectonic, they struck, and then they took all of the core of the earth and they pushed it up. So all of this is what this is mantle rock. And you'll see it in Grossmorn, on the tablelands and stuff like that.
It's very red.
Yeah, and it looks almost porous, like lava.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very different rock.
Hey, listen, guys. Bobby O says Kirk and Penny taught us how to drink like a Newfie, ride like a Newfie, dress and stay warm like a Newfie. Haha, thank you.
Tell him he's welcome.
He heard you.
That's awesome.
That's cool. So you not only get a snowmobile excursion, you get a geology and history lesson.
Yeah, it's
Right.
pretty neat.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What?
So this is Lewis Hills. So when you get up on the hills, this is what I'm talking about. You're above the tree line. So you're going up hills, you're in bowls. So all of that they're all snowmobiles. So you can see the magnitude of the mountains, like how vast it is. And it's just it's a winter wonderland. It's just, and there's no man-made rides. You make it yourself. Like
That's cool.
It's amazing. So no trees. It's just like someone took this big sheet of velvet and went poof, and you're riding on it.
And
Now, is there usually more snow than that, Penny? Usually, because it doesn't look like there's a lot of snow.
There's probably about 10 feet of snow.
Oh, geez, it doesn't
Very,
look like.
very compacted.
Yeah.
A lot of
Okay.
miles, a lot of humidity,
Yeah.
a lot of wind. So it's not BC,
Yeah.
but what it is very flat landable. So when,
Yeah.
Cool.
so when you get out of the airplane from Ontario,
Yeah,
you can actually go and ride in the mountains and not be stuck for 5 days.
Yeah.
that's cool.
And
Yeah.
most of those areas, they would have, that would probably, so this would be later in March. So you've had all, like, the sun is really beat down on it, settled. It's hero snow. You can go anywhere. But
Yeah,
there's
so there's
probably about 10 feet of snow there in that picture.
So it's old guy snow for Gary and I.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about hitting anything either, like hitting a
Right.
tree or stump or,
Yeah.
you know what
Well,
I mean?
every now and then there's a scattered rock that pokes its head out. So you got to be a little
Of
careful.
course, I'd find that one.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now,
The
Rich,
biggest thing in there is the crevasses, because there's some areas that, like, you're just going along and then it looks like doodle doodle doo, and then boof, like you could just drop like 20 feet, right?
that looks like a sheer face there. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not here. Let me get the pointer up there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Like right there is
Absolutely.
it looks like a sheer face of
Yeah.
And
Up
these
there.
would be the areas where we would have like our avalanches and stuff. Nothing major like BC, but there has been known to be slides and everything, right?
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, Rich, you wanted deep snow,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Jeez. That's hilarious. Look at him. Hell wrapped there, Gary.
So this is our a good friend of ours, Greg Posey. He's probably watching, and if he's not, he'll be watching it later. He's kind of walking. I think one of our buddies got stuck, and he's walking up to help him. So he literally fell into like a tree well.
Jeez.
And so the scary part about that is, if your foot don't hit a branch down on the bottom,
You can go all the way
you
down.
could literally be the F word, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the look on his face was like, God damn, thank God I hit a branch.
Yeah. Are you feeling with your feet as you go down for tree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nothing you can do because it's so soft, and the trees sometimes are so dense. It'll snow and it'll go in, but it never packs up. So you just like you're walking and you're thinking you're okay, and then all of a sudden it's just this big void, and you just go woof. So it's pretty scary. So that's kind of why I think he's got that look on his face.
That's wild.
Gary,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to point out, Greg's been a real big help with us through the race efforts over the year. He's our metal fabricator. He's been on our support team many years. He would go to the end of the world and back for us.
Yeah.
And then when we switched to the SnoXcapes side on the tourism side here on the island, he's usually now this year he's got 2 groups all booked up, guys that he's put together, and big advocate for us. He loves coming to Newfoundland. Big snowmobiler.
Yeah.
Proud owner of a Moxhead for his Ontario trips. Big shout out to Greg. He's a great guy.
That's awesome.
That's sweet.
Nice.
I was thinking of something there, but I forget what my train of thought went. So must be the screech kicking in.
He wears one of those girly helmets that needs the wires too. I think.
Does he? Yeah.
That's hilarious. It's got a nice wrap on it though.
Yeah.
So
That drop off there. Wow.
the picture right there, that is that's
There's
on
the
cusp.
sledders.
That's what I mean. Like, look how small that is.
So they're on the cusp right there of Grossmore National Park. So
That's wild.
right there's a big waterfalls just on this side of them that goes off, and it's called Overlook Brook or Overlook Falls, sorry. But as you can kind of see like the cornices like coming off the sides of the cliff, so you had to be very careful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when we have groups with us, it's probably one of my most stressful stops. I'm like, don't go close to the edge, because
you'd be standing over nothing. Like right there, there's a cornice. If I zoom in, like,
and you will be obliterated if you go over that, because it's, oh my God, I don't know how many feet the drop is.
Yeah,
It's massive.
I will point out the sea level, right? It's
What? Trout River Pond is in behind.
That's so
so if it's below seawall level, if you fall over the cliff, you actually go up.
No.
Zoom back out again, Gary.
Zoom back out.
Oh, I know the question I wanted to ask you, Kirk. When you're
See
traveling,
the water? Oh, sorry.
yeah, sorry, before I forget, because I'll probably forget. Do you carry snowshoes when you're doing the race, like in the boggins?
Like you've seen them in the pic. It depends on the year. It depends on the snow. Not every year. Earlier, the races progress. The race gets faster every year. Faster. So you keep paring down your gear every year. More minimalist. So definitely 08, 09, and 11, we would have carried snowshoes. But I think after that, it was like you couldn't afford to. You couldn't give up the real estate on your sled and pay everything back.
Kirk, can I ask you something? So how many years have you been doing this now?
So Team 7 was made up of 2 racers and a whole bunch of support and friends and family. Raced 08, 09, and 11. We took 12 off and was on the film crew with Snowmobile Television. So we actually were on the land on snowmobiles with cameras filming the race live, basically like trackside, which was spectacular. And then we went back in 14 to catch the podium, and that was our last year.
Okay, so the reason why I was asking you that is, so the gear, and I'm talking about from your snowmobile all the way to your helmet to everything you carried, must be like night and day difference from now to what you did when you started. Would you not say like it's improved vastly, or you've just become wiser to what you use?
You definitely always take something back. Like you always pick something up. Definitely 08, like when you show up from Ontario, being a groomed trail rider to CAIN'S Quest, like my goodness, talk about chalk and cheese. But we did a lot of research. Having said that, though, like we did do a lot of research. And,
you had your Gore-Tex and
yeah,
stuff,
that's when the first Gore-Tex was purchased for that, and We bought Garmin 276 GPSs, which was the right GPS to own, and so we had that. Didn't have bunny boots, so so it progressed. Definitely, I think the wool come into play very early. And Dave, my partner, my race partner, he was an outdoorsy guy. He was always researching that stuff, and he brought a lot to the table when it came to how to dress in the outdoors as well. Right, so
right, yeah.
It definitely has evolved. There's no question, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Question for you. What would you say is the most underrated thing that you carry and take with you that you thought, well, I might not need this, but you ended up using it and you used it, often?
I'm going to show you something I wish I had have used.
Okay.
Was an earplug. I wish I had earplugs the whole time I raced, because I believe that I've got hearing loss issues now. And I can remember getting off the snowmobile after, let's say, we'd race for 50 hours at a time sometimes.
Yeah, it's hard on your ears.
It's you try and lay in bed for the 6 hours you get off
ringing,
and your ears are ringing and keeping you awake. You know what I mean? So, and your partner's yelling at you for getting involved in the thing to begin with. But
okay,
underrated. Snow bungee was not so much in the race. Can I come back to that? Let me think about that.
No. It was just a simple question. I just thought
bunny boots. Like 2014, I put my foot down through a waterfalls. I was trying to get up, and I got my foot wet. And it was minus 30 out. And you're gonna see you may see a picture later on of a bunch of us that was in a warm-up shelter during the race. I had a wet foot for 10 hours in minus 40. Oof. And had I not had bunny boots on, I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, Penny had something to say about the lake back there.
I was just pointing out it's salt water. So that's Trout River Pond in the background, but that leads down to the ocean sort of thing. So just to give you a perspective of elevations.
Insane.
That is wild. Great views though.
Same place looking out.
Cool. Oh, so that's looking over the edge.
Yeah.
God, if you were flying along there, you wouldn't even know.
Penny had the opportunity to be in a helicopter to actually fly down the face when Snowmobile TV was there doing some tourism videos.
Oh, that's sweet.
And went down over that face.
Yeah. Now that's a national park, so you can't fly a drone there, or is this outside of the park?
That's outside, just outside. That's we're in a corridor.
So I had a dream job, and then I met him, and I left it, and I moved to Ontario and worked construction.
That's the only people that can afford the snowmobilers, construction workers. Hey, listen, no, Penny, like, you're being modest. Like, tell us about your history with snowmobiling in Quebec. This is really impressive. And I don't know if you don't want to tell it, Kirk will tell it.
Not Quebec, in Newfoundland.
Or sorry, Newfoundland. Sorry,
the damn Screech, eh?
Wrong bunch of weirdos.
So my always been a snowmobile enthusiast. Started snowmobiling when I was about 7. Then I went away to university, got my Bachelor of Commerce degree in marketing, but still always like heavily involved in snowmobiling. And that's like your single trail going through the woods, blah, blah, blah. Then they decided, I think it was 97, that they decided they were going to start getting some volunteer snowmobile clubs going. Got involved with that. Then in 1998, we started getting some groomers here on the island because of Power Streak Rendezvous, which went across Canada from Newfoundland right out to Squamish, BC, just to promote snowmobiling in the Trans-Canada Trail. Still then heavily involved. I was the president of the local club in my area for 10 years. I was vice president of the Newfoundland Labrador Snowmobile Federation for 4 or 5 years. And then I became the executive director with the Snowmobile Federation, at which point I met Kirk. And then boys. I quit my job and I moved to Ontario. But back in the day when we originally started the clubs, there was zero organized snowmobiling in the province. It was just like single trail trappers, everybody going. So yeah, we and the group, we were kind of the ones that started all the trails, got the groomers, put up the warm up shelters. So it was pretty cool. It was neat. It was real grassroots, and very proud to have been a part of it, the start of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like that, isn't that incredible? Like, you know.
Oh,
Sure.
thank you.
Yep.
I always tell him I'm amazing, but he don't listen to me.
Anybody that's involved in the sport like that is just to bring it to the province that's incredible.
Yeah, that is well.
It was always my passion to do what we're doing right here with SnoXcapes, and it's cool. Yeah.
Who's that good looking guy?
Well, I gotta ask you, do you see anything odd about his snowmobile? Does she really stand out?
It's you parked it like a bicycle right there, I think, and you got tassels on it like a
There you
bicycle.
go. Good one, Gary. Good one. So if you back out, that gentleman's name is Brent Sweet. Brent's my dear friend here in Newfoundland. I met Brent in 2009 out in front of his gas station with my brand new Expedition. It was the first one he had seen in North America, and he actually had one coming, and he came out to greet me. We've been best buddies ever since on the snowmobile front. So Brent's very instrumental on our support team. He's a bit of a navigational mechanical genius. Love him to death.
Nice.
Can't say enough good things about him. We talk about the North Arm Hills, Gary, and the bowl. Brent's got a cabin that looks at the bowl from his front window.
Nice.
And we're in the North Arm Hills there. That is his playground. Brent's
That's
not
awesome.
happy. He's up in the Gregory Mountains.
Or stuck, as
And
you can see from the look on his face.
If he's
Yeah, he's showing that.
and not getting stuck, he's not happy. He's a sheer adventurist. So in our groups, when you come out and get yourself into trouble and make a fool of yourself, like get stuck or fall over, the penalty box is the tassels in your handlebar, and you have to wear those until the next person screws.
That is amazing.
Into the
That's
tuck bar
awesome.
there, and or spruce, I guess, and he donned the tassels until somebody else messed up. But
That's awesome.
if you see that smile on his face there in that picture, the guy, he's just in heaven right now. He loves the sport. He's very instrumental with Penny in the beginning of organized snowmobile in Newfoundland, and has been a real asset to our both CAIN'S Quest Team 7 and SnoXcapes. Can't say enough good about him.
He was one of the ones that was in the club with me, and all, like, there was such a wonderful, phenomenal core of people that got it going, and he was definitely one of them. Yeah.
Was he at the snowmobile show going like, "Hey, you want that guy's number? I'll get that guy's number."
No, but he probably would have. Either that or he would have told Kirk to run. Go, don't get me
Yeah, I hear you. It looks like he's handing over the tassels to the guy that's buried back there behind my shoulder.
Yeah.
Very soon.
It's hilarious.
Now Bullwinkle's going to be proud of this picture.
Nice caribou.
Oh no, we got another Bullwinkle shot.
Yeah.
What are these things?
Those are caribou.
Like that's what pulls Santa's sleigh, right?
No, reindeer.
Yeah.
Reindeer.
So
Different
the
animal.
funny thing, about this is we're on the other side of them. They're in the park and we're not, and they're looking at us as if to say, "Ha ha."
That's it. Eh? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
But they're so. Oh, there you go.
There's a nice moose.
Yeah, this is
Nice
they
cow.
have stuffed animals out in the wild.
That's
in
awesome.
Newfoundland.
So Greg Posey's brother Jeff, expert photographer, was on this particular trip. That was in Chaos Canyon. That picture he took there, and
Right down at
he
the
got
bottom.
some great
Yeah.
shots he had a good camera and all the right gear, but
Yeah.
he got some spectacular shots. Like that should be
Yeah.
patented.
That's a female, right?
Yep.
I can't tell if it, or did it drop its antlers already?
Yeah, it could be.
I think
Smaller face though. Looks like a cow, but could be. Yeah.
it's got the tough on it though. I don't know.
Yeah.
So talking about ice, you were talking about ice capades.
Look at that.
From the bowl is the Loman sinkhole, and that's a frozen waterfall down in this cavern.
That's awesome.
Do
you ride down in there? Or you slide down your butt.
You ride to the top, and you got to walk down or slide down.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It looks like people rolled down.
Yeah. So it comes off of the hill and it comes down and it goes in this canyon, but there's no pond. There's nothing there. It just goes and then it goes down in the fissures.
Freezes.
In the rock. So did you ever see the Netflix show Frontier with Jason Momoa?
No. I'm going to have to look that up.
So anyway, they did a lot of filming in around our area. And there was one, like a couple of scenes that they actually went down into the sinkhole and filmed it.
Cool. That's pretty cool. This is like the Kearney Ice Caves where every year it'd be different, right?
Yeah, true, right? Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if you ever watched Manhunter, but the prey in the Manhunter Newfoundland hid down there and kept away from them.
Oh, okay.
Really? That's funny. No, I've watched The Bachelorette season 3.
She probably should have ran and hid down there too.
Pretty incredible. There's some more soft snow for you, Rich.
Well, that was day one. The first day in Labrador with our Yamahas. Dave and I are 144 by 15s, and there's a groom trail just outside the picture. I was going down the groom trail. Let's see what's going on out here in the powder, and I literally didn't make it 80 feet, and that was the reaction. I was probably doing 60 kilometers an hour when I touched into the powder, but it just ate me up. About, oh my goodness, what have we got ourselves into?
And again, you put 154s on those apexes.
144.
144s. Yeah. So you've extended the skid on them, and she's buried.
Oh yeah.
And that's with no gear on board.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's what I went. What have we done?
Okay.
We were stuck about 368 times that race. We would get stuck in the trail. Like there'd be a beat trail that guys had raced on for the last 10 hours. We get stuck in that trail.
That's the way I felt when I was doing MJ's Muskoka vintage race on my bike. Exact same way, Penny. Penny and MJ are friends, so
actually,
if she's watching, hi MJ.
She's in Quebec riding right now.
Yeah, she's not watching us. Were you kidding me?
Yes, Madeleine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny
okay, so
Penny
go ahead.
Signed up for it was going to be a women's race in 2010, I think it was 2010, 2011. And MJ and Penny were signed up to race the women's edition of the CAIN'S Quest. That never
nice. It never ever happened.
Yeah.
Okay, Rich, you've got 3 seconds to name someone you know in the next photo. All right.
Let's see. Holy shit! Is that?
That's John.
No,
is that John?
John? I thought that was Sherrard. No? Okay, I was wrong.
I was gonna say I don't recognize, but yeah. Wow.
So that fellow's name that's in the background is Jason Watkins.
Okay.
So we went to registration at the White Wolf Snowmobile Club, 2008. 2 guys from Ontario, with 2 guys in support, the McLaren brothers. And we went to the registration and didn't have it. Like, we didn't know what we were into. I just got that stuck picture, right? I'm kind of like, what the heck have we got ourselves into? And Jason's from Labrador, he's an electrician at the mine there at Iron Ore Company of Canada. And he's like, where are you guys staying? We're at the hotel. Where are you working on your sleds? We don't have anywhere to work on your sleds. Come on, boys, bring them over to the shop. So
nice.
That was the night before the race. You know, they brought us into their shop and, you know, made some suggestions on it. They were riding Yamahas as well. And they're like, well, you know, gave us some suggestions on things to change. And we've been best buddies ever since.
Nice.
Cool.
Jason had lots of trouble in the race, as we all did, up until 2014. Jason was one of the teams we were working with. We've been, you know, real good friends ever since this picture was taken. And Jason went away in first place in 2014.
Yep.
Nice. Congrats.
Very
That's
proud
awesome.
moment. Very proud moment for him. Yeah.
That's great.
Talk about hospitality. Like,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's Newfoundland hospitality, though.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
So at day one of the race, they got my venture all geared up there. remember Rex Hibbert pulled up beside me. Well, I wasn't letting that happen. So, over throttled down the lake. There was a fair bit of fresh snow that day. And I thought I'd take a little shortcut, sucked up way too much gas, ran out of gas, 120 kilometers into the race on the sat phone calling for help, right?
That's hilarious.
Had to bring us fuel and probably cost us 3-4 hours, 3 hours into day one. What have I done?
Holy cow. You're still having fun at this point in time, though.
I got a big smile. It seemed like it was exciting, but little did I know nighttime was just around the corner, right?
That's awesome.
How many hours are in the day? Is it different there? Because you're pretty far north. Like, do you get the
March though? It's and I can't tell you, maybe would it be 7 a.m. till 6 p.m.?
Really?
So
there's some busted stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw Dave under the bus here. I don't know why we traded snowmobiles. I can't remember why. And this was outside of Happy Valley Goose Bay. He may not even admit to this. He might say I'm full of shit. But no. And Dave drove over a frozen spruce tree rather than turning the handlebars to go around. He just drove through it and bent my lower A arms. So at the checkpoint when we got back on the clock, we had to change it out and put us back another couple hours.
And the thing is, you're only allowed to work on your own sled, right? You can't. Yeah.
Correct. So there's John.
There's Sherrod. Okay, sorry, that's the picture there. Look at it. Look at how young
he is. Yeah.
Just a baby.
Rich, you're asking about gear and things. You want to zoom back in those bags? I was the guy that kind of chased sponsorships and relationships, like John Sherrard and Alka Suspension, and another company that I got in touch with, who was just wanting to break into the snowmobile market, was Giant Loop. And
Giant Loop, they're a huge adventure motorcycle here.
Huge.
Yep. They got great stuff for adventure bikes. Yep.
So we formed a relationship with them, and they actually were trying to start a snowmobile line at the time, and named one of their bags, believe it or not, after us. Or they asked us how we want to name the bigger snowmobile bag, and in relationship to the race. So we named it the Torngat. The Torngat is the mountain range, which is up in northern Labrador, north of Maine.
That's awesome.
So we're kind of proud that to be involved with them.
Yeah, they're
great gear.
They have amazing gear for adventure bike riding too. Giant Loop. They're huge sponsors of adventure bike riding. That's awesome.
We were very fortunate. We had really good sponsors in 2014.
Nice.
Yeah.
Look at John, just smiling ear to ear. That's great.
He was very key on what we did.
So that's the sled before you wrapped it?
Correct. Yes.
That's the same sled. Looks.
That's
I
awesome.
like the wrap. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks cool.
So
Nice.
This is at Hades. This picture is.
Yep.
And so the guy in the blue, that's Harold from Giant Loop, the owner.
That's the owner of Giant Loop.
And the guy on Kirk's right is Martin, who's the owner of Elka. So
Nice.
They came down. They asked us to bring. We took 2 of our race sleds down because we always love going to Hades, and we put one in the Giant Loop booth. No, he was with someone else.
Rocks
Anyway,
and Giant Loop were together. Rocks,
Yeah.
the guys who do the hand guards.
Yeah, Rocks.
Oh yeah, Rocks. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we put the other one in Up North Technology. Yep.
Cool.
Excuse me.
So this, on the back of that, on the back of my tunnel, there's the 2 new. The Revel Stoke is the rear bag, the smaller one, and the Torngat is the one closer to Martin from Elka.
Sweet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll just back up again for a second.
All right.
Good.
Back up here. Yep.
We ran trail tanks, so we took the factory fuel cells off and ran a 52-liter trail tank. It was another sponsor of ours from Heydays. You can see that one's actually cleared. You can see it's going to have a tank of fuel there, I think.
Yep.
Looks like the seat's higher too.
The tank's higher. So
Yeah, it just goes way back.
raises
Yeah.
it up,
Yeah. So that'd be nicer to ride, I think.
yeah.
More fuel. Cool.
It gives you a pretty good perspective of our. You can see our rear bumper. See how we extend it way down the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
and then custom drop brackets built right into it. That sort of shows some of the reinforcement that we did to ensure that we didn't kink the tunnel. And we'll get into the skid later. But the skid's a completely home-built custom skid with Ice Age rails, and from there up.
Nice.
So that's a great picture of our members of our support team at one of the checkpoints. I think it's Happy Valley Goose Bay. I don't know if you've ever met Donnie Woods with Factory Recreation in Midland. Donnie was our BRP dealer from Ontario, wearing the Canada jacket there. We're all distributing Canada jacket. You can't do it unless you got a dealership behind you. Factory Recreation was awesome with us. In the middle is Brent. I was mentioning Brent with the orange climb suit. Yeah, he hasn't got the tassels on that day. Brent was there with their sport team, and then Jerry Beeson on the right in the climb jacket, the black one.
He was the one that was in the sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Nice. Perfect.
Yeah. So that's our team. That's part of our team. I shouldn't say lots of members, but that's a
That's how many people are on the team would you say it takes a village?
like and I consider fans at home family. Like I consider everybody members of the team, not just the ones that are in Labrador. It could be there. But we would have
tracks on snow, probably like 10.
Yeah, it could be 10. Could be 10 people involved with the support. Yeah.
We had trucks, trailers, snowmobiles.
It's everybody taking taking a week off work and volunteering their time, and all their efforts. Like it's amazing what people do for you.
Yeah, crazy.
But the thrill of it's there too, right?
Oh yeah. It must be a huge adrenaline rush, right? Oh, tell us about after the race. This is interesting. This is something you told me earlier today. What happens after the race?
Mental.
Well,
what do you feel like?
Depends on which race it is. Now you're referring to the 2014
Cain's
race.
Quest. I'm talking about Cain's Quest. Yeah.
It's very like I found it very emotional. It was every year there was always all kinds of challenges, and you were into you can't believe what you overcame mentally, physically. So you were almost jet lagged when you're at the finish line. Like you get there, and I shouldn't say that at the finish line. You're on adrenaline at the finish line, and probably for the next 12 hours. But then when you come off of that, you go into this state of mind that's it's like jet lag, or I don't want to use the word depression. It's a terrible word to use, but you're really in detune. Like you're
exhausted, I imagine.
You are.
Yeah.
And I remember
mentally and physically.
I was probably 30 days getting over the last race we were in 2014. It was
wow.
It was. Well, you got to remember we were 3,737 kilometers, 8 days, 40 hours off the in bed kind of thing max. It wasn't even that. I think it was like 36 hours of sleep or something ridiculous.
Wow.
It was foobarred. Like it wasn't right.
Yeah.
Give you an example. That picture there. That's the last day. That's the last leg of the race. Goose Bay back to Churchill Falls, back to the finish line. We're in 9th position. We had to change the shocks on both sleds. Like 8 shocks had to get changed out. We had sheared the oil in the shocks, and it's not that cold that night. But we're leaving the checkpoint like at 9 p.m. and we've got 600 to 700 kilometers of racing to do, and I'll tell you, it's tough to leave a warm building day 7, working into day 8, and leaving at night. I don't know if you noticed in the picture, we deleted. We had our headlights on delete, so we delete the halogen lights. There was a time and a place for them, but we ran amber LEDs. So we didn't have a white LED. We ran amber, and lots of lumens.
There we go. You can see that there.
6,000 lumens or something between those two lights. It was high and low beam, and
it helped you for your being tired, I imagine, eh, Kirk? Is that what it was for?
Just to cut the snow. Like everybody online complains, when did they come out with LED headlights? The problem with LED headlights or white headlights is when you get into a blizzard, it reflects back on you and it blinds you. Mm-hmm. And in Labrador, you're into those type of conditions all the time, or even snow dust from behind your partner. So, the guy, one of the guys at Elka Suspension was a Baja racer on 4-wheelers, and he says, "Kirk, you got to run amber. We use it for in the Baja 1000 race to cut through the snow dust, so you're not getting that white reflection back in your eyes." Mm-hmm. So I think we were the ones that brought that to the race. We were the first guys to bring amber color to the race, and it was very effective. It worked quite well. That's why I think that's why Skidoo still uses halogen. It's a yellow beam. It's an amber light, and it also has enough heat to melt the snow and everything off your headlight. It's LED doesn't produce enough heat. So everybody that complains online, there's probably a reason that they haven't gone LED yet. It's not Skidoo being cheap, so I think it's them being wise. So there's a finish line.
It's because Skidoo gets $40 a bulb for a halogen bulb.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So that's a happy moment. We left that last picture you had was we were in 9th place, and the picture you got now we end up in 3rd place.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Dave said to me he never dreamt that he didn't think we were going to get to the finish line, and he says he never dreamt that we'd see the podium. So
nice.
Big highlight for us. Yeah.
When you're doing the race, though, you're not thinking podium. You're thinking just finishing it. Right? Or are you thinking I'm going for it?
This year we were the 2014 we'd done it enough. Like it was, we were really serious with the podium. Yeah. First would have been nice, but couldn't be happier that a real good friend of ours that showed us so much hospitality, native Labradorian, won it. And
nice.
To see his kids, his 2 boys looking up at him, holding the cup. You can't replace that. I couldn't be happier for him.
Yeah.
This is a neat picture.
Notice the bunny boots.
Yeah.
So this is up in Nain. This is halfway through the race. Dave had broken his front torque arm, very similar to what Barry did on a super wide. And we pulled into a local contractor at a welder, and we had to do all our own work. And Dave welded up his torque arm to get us back to the finish line. Now, you see that green military gas can? Oh, I haven't got to the gas can story yet. Carry on.
No, you haven't. We're going to get there, though.
Yeah. So 2008, that was a checkpoint. It was maybe 150 kilometers out of Goose Bay. It was just a remote tent, and we had to make that waypoint in the middle of the woods and get our passport stamped, and off we went again.
How do they know you make a waypoint? Do you phone it in, or do you register it in, or how do they know?
So there's actually checkpoint officials that living in that tent for the duration of the race, and they would call it in with a sat phone, Team 7, and
time.
What our time was that we pulled in the checkpoint. So that particular one they do it by sat phone.
Yeah. Look at the jacket, how white it is.
So that's the finish line 08. Remember I was telling you I had to go back and get Dave. Jerry Puckner, a fellow racer from Labrador, gave me that jacket to put over top of my climb gear to go back and get him because it was so cold that night. And that's me at the finish line. Absolutely beaten to death. There was nothing left of me. It was so cold out, Gary. My tunnel cooler froze over. Like I bridged the cooler with ice, and I couldn't melt the ice anymore. And then I ended up taking out the center cylinder on a Yamaha 4-stroke 3-cylinder and drove through.
Oh my God!
I blew it up. Didn't know at the time. I found out just that I brought home, sold my brother-in-law, and he told me.
Oh, look at that jacket.
I know, isn't that frosty?
That's
Oh,
cool.
those goats are the best, though, man.
You got to listen to that, Rich. It was so cold, he frosted over his cooler and he blew out the center cylinder of his Apex.
Oh,
So
jeez.
I was telling you, so when I was towing him into the finish line, there was the northern lights, my high temperature lights, and the lights of Lab City in the distance. It was spectacular. So that's Uncle George Rogers. That's my buddy I was scouting with. That's a 2014 race. That was a very tough race. We had a period of time where we were about 50 hours behind the bars, and extreme conditions, and we all got really fatigued. We pulled up on what we knew there was a warm-up shelter in the woods, and we headed for it. But what we didn't know was the Canadian Rangers had actually been stationed there sort of as a emergency backup if anybody got in trouble. So we kicked the Rangers out of little cabin. They already had it warmed up, and the racers all got in there and huddled around and tried to catch a few minutes sleep. And George was so cold, he went right into the backside of the stove. He was near Paris. He was really cold.
This is the way I look when I come off of George Street in Newfoundland.
After
I got screeched in at Trapper John's pub.
There's a traditional Labrador anorak jacket that his team was running that year.
Nice.
Yeah, they're warm.
And that's the rest of us. That's the other side of the cabin.
I hate to see what the other guy looks like.
So that's frostbite.
Yeah.
Is it really?
That's how bad his frostbite was. Yeah.
Yeah.
He kept racing.
You don't mess with frostbite. See, that's the thing. If he had an oxygen helmet on, he wouldn't have that patch on his eye.
The fellow's name's Aaron Poker. He's a native Labradorian from Natwashish, I believe Aaron is from. And he's a Innu community on the shores of on the North Atlantic there, the shores of Labrador. One tough cookie. The rest, you see all us inland guys, we're all having a sleep. You can see me down there in the center laying on top of Shannon Strangemore and Dave Dumeris, Team 17. And Aaron, he's ready to race again. He wasn't laying down. Tough people, man. Unbelievable. Aaron was in the race, actually, and he ended up going into a river, and he was 8 hours ahead of us. He went into a river and put him out.
Oh, geez. If you're going to give up, like you all carry sat phones, I guess, right? Like, do you just phone it in and they get you out of there, or how do you give up? Like,
so
how do you...
That GPS transponder I was telling you about that each team has, it's got a help button on it. So if you run into trouble, you would hit a distress signal. You're automatically out of the race. And there's either a helicopter coming or there's ground search and rescue, or in this case, the Canadian Rangers were stationed in this particular building. If no one if you don't know what the Canadian Rangers are, they're a kind of a paramilitary group of the Canadian Armed Forces that's in the northern regions of Canada that protect our Arctic sovereignty. So they'll do any operations up in the north.
Cool. Yeah. So, who pays for that cost? Like, obviously, it's not free to send a helicopter in to scoop people up. Like, is that something that the CAIN'S Quest organizers pay, or is that something that you guys fundraise for? How does that all work?
So let's say George or one of these racers, including myself, couldn't go any further. Say the snowmobile was broke down. If I was not in medical distress, I could get a ride back with someone else, one of the a member of the community, member of the support team. It would deem me out of the race, but it's my responsibility to get back to civilization from there. Now, if I was in that cabin with a broken leg, chances are I'd either go out on a sleigh. The Rangers would have taken me out on a sleigh or a chopper. They'd have one or two choppers at all times, either doing filming or doing, search and rescue, or if required, or medical mishaps. Very, very rarely did someone get flown out, but it certainly did happen.
This isn't something, Penny. This isn't something where Nan's going to come pick you up there. You call your mother, and she comes in the station wagon and grabs you.
I'm not going to mention any names, but I remember one racer. He got out to the highway and kicked one of his support crew out of the vehicle they're in. He got inside the vehicle and locked the doors. Wouldn't let anybody. I'm not going any further. You're not getting in here. I'm done.
Oh my God! Like, people kind of lose their mind, do they? In this,
absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, are you looking for a new rug by chance?
There you go, eh? Oh, jeez. Wow. Look at him just stretched out. That's hilarious.
Look at the size of the house beside.
Wow.
This is a picture for people listening to this. It's a photo of a polar bear on a sleigh. It's obviously been harvested.
Huge.
And this thing is the size of a house.
That's wild.
And don't be offended, because it's ethical. It's part of the traditional hunting in Labrador. I think it's one license is given to each community. And then if you get it for so long, and if you don't get the bear, it goes passed on to someone else. So it's all part of an ethical hunt.
Yeah, well, you have to. They are a natural resource, right? So, how much would this thing weigh?
I can't answer
who knows?
that. I
Like
apologize.
it's the size. It's a Ford excursion.
Yeah, for sure, man.
The point of the picture was when you're in Labrador and some parts of Newfoundland in certain months, these bears do exist in the winter, very active, and they are monsters. Should you encounter one, they are going to hunt you down. And it was a constant distraction when you're racing up the North Atlantic. You're in their habitat. You don't want to break down. You don't even want to stop. It's the middle of the night.
You see a lot of. You see quite a few of them.
I'll be honest with you. I never saw a bear myself in either scouting or in the race. Others did. They were around. But I did encounter very, very fresh tracks on our race route when we were scouting in 2014, both Brent and I. And it was really humbling. It was snowing out, and there was no snow. There was no fresh snow in the track. It was minutes away from being there when we were there. Yeah. And Brent, being a little bit more familiar with the animal, turned around, and because I wanted to take a picture of the print. The print looked like a 20-liter pail. Like that's the size of the footprint.
Oh my goodness!
20-liter pail stamped in the snow with these, where the nails stuck out from there. And I wanted to take a picture because I thought that was, quite spectacular. And he suggested that right now is a really good time to leave.
Yeah.
And
are they always pissed off? Is that a thing? Are they always mean or?
No, you're just their food source.
Yeah, they're just
okay. So they're going to eat you if they're hungry.
They hunt humans.
Yeah, and I apologize if we're getting that a little bit misconstrued. Or someone that knows better than we do, but
it's not winning the poo, is what you're saying.
No.
He's not just looking for honey and getting stuck in rabbit's holes.
Yeah.
Another picture of scouting with George Rogers. A lot of pictures of George in here, but
he owes you royalties on this one.
So this gives you a perspective of what the race route looks like. Like this is pretty serious stuff. He's on ice. Like that cliff ends where his mag side ski is, where he's standing, and he's on ice under turbulent waters, and it's not for the faint of heart.
Oh jeez.
Wow. Crazy.
This is year 1, 2008, Sail Lake Checkpoint. Rob Pilgrim, who's now the chair of the race, longtime volunteer. He was working the checkpoint here. He wouldn't let us stay in the camp or in the checkpoint. That was.
I see now. Do you guys have pork and beans that morning, or was it taco night or something that you weren't allowed in the cabin? It's right beside you.
Part of the race, you can't stay inside the checkpoint. For some, I can't remember why we weren't leaving until morning. Maybe we had to repair something. I don't think we were waiting for parts, but so Dave and I spent a night in the tent beside the checkpoint.
That's wild.
Aha.
So here's the continuation of the story about gas cans.
So military got 2009, Shefferville, Quebec. We took some gas off of that sleigh that we did such a great job building. Make sure you clean your cans out if they're used, even if they're new, before you put gas in them. This one had a bunch of dirt and debris in it. Choked up Dave's sock filter in his tank for his inline fuel filter in the sock there in front of the pump. Machine shut off, so I had to tow him into Shefferville, and we had to strip the sled right down, get the fuel pump out, get the sock clean, and put it back together. And we were probably 4 or 5 hours doing that. Thank goodness we found a shop to work in. This is right when the temperatures were about to drop. And anyways, we were in last place at this point in Shefferville. Next stop was Kuujjuaq. We had a good track to Kuujjuaq, and we had 3 teams in front of us who were all using the same track. Unfortunately, it was a bit of a blizzard, not too different than what your backdrop is on your screen there. It was snowing pretty hard.
Yeah.
And we left 9:00 that night from Shefferville, and arrived in Kuujjuaq 4:00 The next day, keep in mind, now we've been racing for 36 hours. We were in second place. The teams that had trouble with the storm, they had trouble with the race route, and we managed to catch up. And it was a pretty exciting time.
That's incredible. Just the stories, man. Look at the beefiness of this skid. Now, did you rebuild? Like, is this made from scratch, all the aluminum rails?
This is, so Ice Age, Brock from Ice Age Manufacturing sponsors us with 2 sets of bomber rails. So we started with that. And then Greg Posey, our metal fabricator, had made us a custom front torque arm out of, I can't remember chromoly. I believe that front torque arm we made out of chromoly.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rear torque arm was factory, but we beefed it up with gussets. And Val from Mainway Solutions, he made us greasable fittings for all and reinforced all of the rockers and all the bushings. And then John Sherrard made us that custom coil-over rear shock that's wild. It's just the torsion spring. So we literally had 3 rear springs.
That's wild.
And you don't have many bogies on. Is that just to keep them from falling off? Like the less moving parts, the better kind of thing? Is that the attitude there?
Well, to be honest with you, there's not a whole bunch more real estate to put them. I'm just looking through it. Like
True, yeah.
Yeah, I think you run out of real estate there.
Yeah.
If we conflict with the torsion springs when they got them put in.
Yeah, true. That's right.
So that's where we are right now. That's the Boggin barn, and
that's looking the other way, is it?
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the opposite direction, and that's a great group we had in from Ontario. You can see the rentals that we acquired from Rugged Edge here in Corner Brook. Yeah, and that's after after a day of riding. We got the sleds all put away and got a fire going, and the boys had a drink.
Nice.
That's sweet. This is typical Labrador snow right here.
Wow.
That's a Trans Labrador Highway after the snowblower had to go through.
That's cool.
So they had to blow it off. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Isn't that wild? It's
like a wall.
It's a slot car race at that point.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me cooking again. So this guy that's here with me, he's a really good friend of ours too, and an integral part of SnoXcapes. So he's actually from Maine. And he has a cabin. He bought a cabin just about 20 minutes from our house in the woods. And he came up here snowmobiling and fell in love with the place. And him and his father ended up buying cabins here. And he comes up every winter. And he's a big part of everything that we do here at SnoXcapes. He's just loves snowmobiling like both of us, and loves doing the cookouts, and
another extended member of our family.
So nice. He's Polish, and his last name starts with an A, and it's really long, and it ends in a Z, and I can't pronounce it. So we call him John A to Z.
That's excellent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is how you get stuck. Are you in water there too? Like you're right on the water edge there.
I'm on the edge of a river system outside. I think Pinus River. I believe I'm on right there, in behind Happy Valley Goose Bay, scouting the race route. I wore a hole through the tank on my expedition, so I brought Penny's 2013 free ride as a spare for our scouting trip with Brent and I. And that picture, just the snow gave away on me, and give you a kind of a perspective of how much snow was there.
Wow, that's insane.
So funny story about that machine. So that's G.I. Jane. Remember I told you I named all of my
Yeah, that's right.
That's G.I. Jane. And
the one in the previous slide was G.I. Jane?
What?
Like that one?
Yes, the one, yeah. So that was the military green one, right?
Yes.
So I still have her, and she has almost 21,000 kilometers on her. And I blew the first plug, 3 days ago?
Yeah, motor's never been touched.
That's crazy.
Belt's never been changed, and yeah.
And that's an 800 E-Tech?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
For all you naysayers out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a friend of mine had an 800, a 2016 800 XRS, and he put 13,100 on it. He was still running the original plugs and the original belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you do have to check your E-Tech plugs because, like Adam was showing back in December, you'll get a divot in the cap of the plug, and that'll cause arcing, and it'll run like crap, right?
No.
So that's pre-race.
Cool.
So what was the one? Okay, getting ready. The one
That's in the race. Here's some nice shots too. We'll just go through a few race shots because it's getting late.
Yeah,
Look at, you're not even, you got the levitating sled there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, is there something to that where you can only go 30K an hour? Like you're just that exhausted?
That back where that picture was, that was heading for the finish line. We were probably doing 100 and 110, 120, 110 probably there. I would say.
Right on.
Yeah, going down the lake.
Just pinner. That's a smooth part, right? And you're just you climbed up a tree there just to see what it was like.
That was another team we were working with, Team 17, great friends of ours. Heading for the finish line, had a little mishap, a little miscalculation. Thought we'd throw that in.
Jeez, look at the gas here.
Yeah, another scouting trip. You see, that's support team. That was during the race. That's a support team heading north to support us. Because I'm seeing you can see on the white slide, we ran white Polaris Hyfax on those Ice Age rails. So he's carrying Hyfax there between the gas cans. So that's on there. And you see the tent stove on top of the gas cans. Yeah.
Insane.
So that's during the race. That's what
this is. Sweet.
That's wild.
Look at the trough that you're digging in there. How do you know you're not, if you're following a beaten path, how do you know you're not going down the wrong path? Like are you kind of relying on the GPS as well?
There was 4 teams in that last picture. We were actually beating the trail in. The guys
is that right?
Yeah, we were actually putting that trail in there. Had nobody in front of us. We were leading the race at that point with 4 or 5 other teams.
Yeah.
So this one here just shows you like the stuff. This is all mandatory gear that's on the back of the snowmobile, and
it's unbelievable.
And the fuel, like you see the transfer tank in the back of Dave's truck, like we had to carry premium gas wherever we went, right? Because that community didn't have it.
Wow.
There's your snowshoes.
So I was talking about Brent Sweet earlier. Dave was out here recreational riding a few years back, and he couldn't keep this Arctic Cat cool. We're in a low snow or high humidity snow. The snow had got really wet, and then it froze, and we couldn't get any cooling, any lubrication to the cooler. So Brent cut 2 pieces of dead wood and created a box, packed the center full of snow, and put the snowshoes on, strapped it over. That was his artificial cooler. Keep it going.
That's ingenious. Yeah. And then if it got too hot, he wouldn't have to worry because it would make fire with the wood that's sitting on there.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a couple polar bears in the wild.
Someone else got that picture and we threw it in there. That was during one of the races. They saw that and got a snapping picture.
Yeah. 2 little cubs and the mom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Giving her. Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Aw, true love.
Finish line 2014. I was done.
Some frostbite there.
Yeah.
And this is SnoXcapes. It's screeched in there. That's awesome.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's the certificate thing that I sent you that you could send.
Perfect. Yep, we'll do that. We're gonna put the Snow Sessions logo on it for sure. Yeah, nice. This is an awesome picture.
That's awesome.
They need these everywhere.
That's cool. You got your privacy.
So you could say that the shooter's full of alders.
Of alders.
This is one of the checkpoints.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's what you had told me earlier. I love that. I'm going to put that as my screensaver on my phone, that outhouse. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Wheeling from the weight.
So that's a scouting trip. One of the racers that we got along quite well was Jean-Guy Coin. He's driving a 24 super wide with nothing in front of them, like nothing, no issues. But that's how loose the snow is.
Yeah.
24 by 156.
Why do you even do the race after you do the scouting mission? Don't you just go, oh, like that was enough. Thank you.
Because there's nobody to compete with. So that's the 2009, those expeditions that we converted to into our race sleds. If you look closely at the front suspension, we actually ran RS, the race sled front ends, like the A-arms and the front shocks.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. It takes a lot of ingenuity, right?
So technically, those are Link snowmobiles. Like those came out of the same factory as what we're seeing released this year. So really, we've been riding Lynxes for a long time.
Have you ridden the new Lynx that you've got sitting there behind you?
Oh, she's a sweetheart. It's a lot of fun.
It is a great machine, isn't it?
Nice.
Yeah. So what that is the that's the people behind the scenes that put the race together.
The masterminds.
Yeah, and hats off to them. Without their time and effort and visions, the race never would have been put to fruition. And I can't say enough about people that put these things.
Oh, together. I hear you. And this is a finish line, right? You start and finish the same.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Back in 08 with the Yamahas.
Nice. Oh, there we go. That was cool.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, that's really cool. I mean,
that was cool.
I appreciate the stories and the fun times and putting us right on the scene. That was incredible.
That's cool. Right on.
But yeah, so how do we find you? Like, how do people find you if they want to learn more about SnoXcapes and where can they find you online?
So we have a Facebook, so SnoXcapes, again with the SNOXCAPES. We have Instagram, which is also the same, just SnoXcapes. And our website is www.snowexcapes.com.
Nice.
That's
Or
awesome.
they
Hopefully
can contact you and you can tell them how to reach us.
Absolutely. That's probably the easiest way because it's late here in Ontario and everybody's getting tired. But no, we appreciate
It's an hour and a half later down here. It's 11:30 here.
Well, I appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah, that's great, guys. Thanks.
That was incredible. Another great show, and be sure to look them up online. And if you have any questions, email me or message me, and I'll point you in the right direction.
Yep,
that's
awesome.
good. But that was a riot. Thank you so much.
That's great, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just going to.
Thanks for the invitation. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just going to run the credits and we'll call it a night.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Thanks.
Cheers.
It's a journey for